Knicks lost to the Heat today, 109-103, where we only scored 44 points in the second half due to a suffocating trap zone, and RJ only scored 3 points in 19 minutes, including only 7 minutes in the second half and none in the fourth quarter. In addition, the Heat went 17 for 22, finishing at the rim, or 77%. The league averages 62%. Where we went 13 for 24, or 54%, as Peyton shot 3 for 12 and had trouble shooting in the paint all game. The Knicks were led by Randall's 26 points, 13 rebounds, 7 assists. Reggie Bullock had 21 points on 7 3-pointers, but had only one in the second half. And Alec Burks rounded out the scoring with 13 points. We tied a season high in made threes with 16 and attempts at 42, which is a respectable 38%. But our record falls to 12-13, and we travel to Miami for hopefully a revenge game on Tuesday. In addition, breaking news, it looks like we traded Dennis Smith Jr., DSJ, and a second-round pick that we got from the Charlotte Hornets for Derrick Rose. So we'll be discussing that tonight, and I have some questions about his contract, which runs out this year. What are we going to do? And a few other things. Tom Brady won his fifth MVP. Tampa Bay won, I think, 31-9, something like that, in the Super Bowl. Congratulations to Brady and the Tampa Bay and their fans. So let me do a quick shout-out to my family out there. Robert Parr, how are you? Hope all is well. And Felipe 210. Freezy will be letting in the people as soon as possible and into the chat. And if we look at the game today, Randall has always had a strong game, but we're going to talk about Barrett. There was a shot today where Barrett went out, and in the third quarter, I think third or second quarter, and he looked like a fighter that was exhausted. He sat down and he just had a look on his face like, so either the kid's hitting the wall, maybe the kid has a flu that nobody knows about, but he looked really, really spent. So we'll discuss that. We'll discuss the trade. Hey, to consider that we lost 109-103 by 6 points, and our second best player only had 3 points. That's a there's no such thing as moral victories, but if there were, that would be one. Quickly didn't play much today. 17 minutes, 5 points. Made a couple of nice baskets. He had 3 assists, 3 rebounds. And again, we'll go over that. And on Miami, Adebayo, man. Wow. Watching Adebayo at center and watching Ibaka the other day on the Clippers last week when we played. When we look at our center position and we look at some of the centers in the league, man, we really need to upgrade, do something. We'll discuss Mitch. I think something's up with Mitch physically. He looks hurting. So we'll talk about it. Hey, Jade and Sammy, hope all is well. Zakaria Anwar, Captain D Coke 70, Raphael, believer of the God of Moses and Elijah, salute, hope all is well. As my brother Freezy would say, Drip more Baz Cuts is in the building. And even better, Simma Sings in the building. So, Joe Madden, we finally have a pure point guard that can be consistent, good trade. We robbed the Pistons. Joe, I hope you're joining us tonight. I need your help. His contract runs out at the end of this year. So we gave up DSJ and a second-round pick for a guy that's walking at the end of this year. So we'll go over that. Hadouken Sharon, hope all is well. We'll go over that. And Freezy on the reminder to for the tonight's show had reunited by Herb and Peaches. So I was kind of hoping that Freezy would be joining me so we could do our duet about reunited and it feels so good. So, hey, Kane Jerry, how are you? So, everyone, I have a favor. Show some love to Freezy and the old slide Fox and Remember to hit those like, subscribe, and remind the bells so you don't miss out on any Knicks at Night and Knicks Morning Drive broadcasts. And please share the link on your favorite social media platforms so we can grow the Lawrence Tears family. And thanks again for helping us get over 1,300 subscribers. 1,500, here we come. We greatly appreciate it. Hey, Juju92, how are you, man? Hope all is well. The new Knicks, my renaissance man. Great artist, great music, great singer, everything, man. So Dripmore, man, yo, hope all is well. What a full day, what a full day. And last night, congratulations to my brother, Kevin Wright, for becoming the new Lawrence Tears Debate League champion. And also congratulations to some of you may call him Charles B. Some of you may call him Chuck. I call him King Charles or the People's Champion. He, again, won last night. And Chuck, you're the best in my book. I'm proud to be one of the leading members of the Charles B fan club. So, Chris, hey, how are you? So, hopefully, hey, Caden, how are you, man? Raphael Burgess. Hopefully, Kevin will be joining us today after his big victory. And I don't know if he's walking around with his championship belt on his shoulder and talking about, hey, I beat you, brother. And but it was a great show by Freezy. We're working behind the scenes. We're going to try to be getting some polling application. So in the future, we won't be counting the first 10, so we can get everybody in there, get their feedback, and tweaking. And we're just doing a whole lot of stuff behind the scenes, grinding. Nothing compared to Freezy. He's my idol. I don't know how the man does it. He's really he's unbelievable, man. I think the guy sleeps like 2 hours at most a day or a nap. He's just an incredible dude. Hey, Chef NYK, what's good, man? Hope all is well. Clean Wipe. D Rose starting, Clean Wipe says. So we'll see. It's going to be interesting. So it could probably be D Rose, RJ, Bullock, Randall, and Mitch. And coming off the bench, it'll be interesting to see if they put Peyton on the second team as the point guard and put Quick as the off guard. So he'll be in the Austin Rivers role, and Austin Rivers maybe will be on the bench. He's played terrible, folks. I've said this a few times. When I got some, a lot of people came after me several months ago when we were doing a broadcast when we first signed him, and I said, why did we sign him? And like, what do you mean, Austin Rivers and all these things? And I was like, he's been on 5 teams. He shoots 64% from the foul line, averages 2 assists. But the one thing I've been saying recently, he's the dumbest coach's son I've ever seen. Game after game, he makes mistakes. I just shake my head. So Sim Singh, how are you, man? 2 fouls on Mitch, on Bam, and on Oleg for and one pissed me off. 2 of the dumbest fouls ever. Sima, I've been watching a lot of film, especially with for Guillermo and other things. His numbers are so, you'll see Mitch, he had a pretty good game, 8 points, 11 rebounds. But when you look at that, just watch technical from the game, his effort on a lot of plays, his technique, his screens, he can drive you crazy. And like I was saying, when you see Bam, and you see some of the other centers that we faced. I love RJ, I love Randall, and I like Quick, and I see them as our future. But if Mitch wasn't here, if we traded Mitch for a substantial upgrade at other position in this, I would not cry about it. Excuse me. So Julian Blum, man, how are you, man? Hope everything is well. Crispy, Taj was better today. Hey, Crispy, I noticed after the game, I saw some footage of Taj, Kevin Knox, Obi after the game shooting around. So I know I saw Quick doing it yesterday, and it was pretty, or the day before yesterday, the last game. Pardon me, folks. This old Sly Fox is beat. I've been shoveling. I live here in the New York area, and we got another foot of snow, and that's after 3 feet. So starting last Tuesday or Monday night, took me 5 days. My wife and I, snow blowers and shovels. It was wicked bad over here, and finally had everything cleaned and said, "Shh," and we got a foot of snow today. So we were out shoveling again. So forgive me if you see me wiping my nose and coughing and that cold air and cold fronts coming in. Getting too old for this, man. Too old for this. So, L. Marshall, how are you? You've been saying what? So, L. Marshall's one of my favorites. So, yeah, I'm glad everything's well, Julian. So Mitch's Jaden Stammy said Mitch's fouls are so cold, uncalled for sometimes. Yeah, uh, you're not kidding, man. And like I said, watching his film, there's so many plays where if you just watch it, there was a play today that I want to talk to you, chat about. Got me so infuriated about Mitch. There was a turnover today. Um, by the Heat, and Randall got the ball about the foul line, and he started dribbling up, and Kelly Alanik, wherever how you pronounce his last name, uh, came up from his blind side and stole the ball, and I was livid because like 4 feet, 5 feet behind Randall was Mitch, and if you watch the footage, he never screamed at him like, "Watch it, watch it, watch it, watch it." So, communication on the offensive end, and everything. So, Mitch's efforts really upset me. Coach Colorblocks, is that you, my friend?
That is me.
How are you?
I'm doing well, man. Trying to stay warm in this crazy weather like you just talked about.
Oh, I'm beat, man. Even using technology like slow, but we have certain parts of around our house and stuff that we have to do the old-fashioned way, just shoveling, and it's just been a brutal, brutal week. And like I said, we just cleaned up and everything. It was like, wow, finally. And then we got nailed again today.
I know. And then you add in like the daily grind of COVID. This is true. Like everyone going to work and school and all those things, on top of like back-to-back cold fronts and 6 inches of snow. It's rough, man. Stay safe out there, chat. Mentally too.
Yeah, absolutely. And just ask questions. My wife works for the Office of the Inspector General here in New Jersey, and a couple of the people that she works with, that second shot, they had major issues, complications or reactions to the second COVID shot that they took, and one of them was like almost paralyzed for like 3 or 4 days.
It's crazy.
So yeah, it is crazy. So prayers to everyone to stay safe, stay healthy, and ask questions. There's one company that has two shots, one company has one shot. My wife, unfortunately, thank the Lord she's okay, but had several surgeries over the last month or so, and she had to have several COVID tests. That's an ugly test, man.
Oh
Poor
yeah.
woman, poor woman. So how's life with you, Coach Colorblocks?
Good. I wanted to talk D Rose.
Let's talk D
I
Rose.
want to
I
talk D
need your
Rose.
help. I need your help because I'm scratching my head. When I look up his salary, his contract runs out this year.
Yeah.
So
I'm
we just got him just for a few months.
I
Uh,
think we're gonna re-sign him. I'm like pretty sure about that.
I hope so because it's like so DSJ, whatever worth value he has, but that second round pick I thought of more than DSJ, unfortunately, and I'm like, hey, I don't want to give away a second round pick if we're so he's making 7,682,000 this season, and his contract runs out.
I think
So
if you re-sign him for a 2-year, $15 million deal, it's fine. I'm
yeah.
okay. I'm okay with the move. I like the move actually.
Do you talk to me?
Yeah.
Talk to me. We talked on Guillermo's show and stuff that he's a special cat. He's more of an introvert than some other players, and I just didn't know whether or not people are like, oh, he'll be a great mentor. I don't know about that him being his style,
Yeah,
but
it's not a style.
yeah, but thanks to you, I was looking at my cleaning the glass and He's in the 11th, meaning D Rose in the 11th percentile at the rim of shooting accuracy. So, he shoots much better. He's not a 3 point shooter. He's only in the 37th percentile in uh, on non corner threes, and so he's better than Peyton. Let's put it like that. So Peyton reverted back to his old ways today, and it's getting so bad, Coach, that when the Knicks play, I have a special pad that's just for Peyton because statistically, if he has 5 baskets, they're now 9-2 when he has 5 baskets. And today he had 3, so he was 2 away from statistically being that. And if you saw, and which you did, how many missed shots in the paint, it was like, hey, Coach,
Don't.
let's go back to D Rose. But one question: when you watch Peyton and some of the others, why don't they use the backboard?
Oh man, that's a whole nother podcast. Why people don't use the backboard.
Yeah, because he's coming at an angle. I'm like, he's coming up short. Like, then use the backboard, son. That's why God created that little square in there. Use it. It's a math thing, and a few things. So let's go, D Rose. Talk to
So
me.
so I'm a fan of the move for. I mean, there's a lot. Let me start with this. The one thing that D Rose does automatically is address our issue of having trouble breaking down the zone. Every team zones us up. They zone us up, and like Miami did today, they even trapped us and pressed us sometimes.
Oh man, yeah, that was a suffocating trap they put on, especially on the pick and handoff, handoff and stuff. They just came to, closed out. Hey, I was real impressed with Quick though. Not a turnover. He looked like he handled
Yeah,
the traps pretty nicely.
there's a few ways to break a zone. I think most people traditionally just think it's shooting. You shoot the other team out of a zone, and that's fine. That's one way to do it. But the other way to break out of a zone, and the one thing and what I see Rose doing it is
Dead center.
he's dead center. He's able to quickly attack the free throw line extended in the free throw line area. And if he just gets a step on somebody, he still has the step.
Hmm.
He only has it for 20 minutes at a time, but he still has the step. If he blows by a point guard and he gets that zone to collapse, I trust him to make a kick out to a shooter or to a cutter towards the basket more than I do Elf or Quickly or Rivers or anybody like that. So automatically, Rose answers our zone problem just from his dribble drive penetration.
Yep.
Just right there, like that's what he's gonna solve automatically.
We're brothers because when I knew this was coming, the first thing in my head, I started thinking about pick and rolls at the top of the key with the zone and him blasting right in, like you said, dead center, them collapsing and him kicking it out or going to the hole. So, besides us, like you said, from the shooting perspective. So, tell me what your thoughts are. So, you think it's going to be on the first team D Rose, RJ,
I think
Bull?
he's off the bench.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
Elf still starts.
Okay.
I'm sure of that. I'm almost sure of that. Elf still starts. I think the backcourt rotation is Elf, Rose, and IQ. I think the odd man out is Rivers.
So this is my question, and you have great, knowledge on this. Do you think Rivers that Quick is now not going to be the point guard? It's going to be on the second team. It's going to be D Rose, and Quick's going to move into the Austin Rivers off guard spot.
I think you could, because if you do a
That's the real
Rose,
spacing, though.
yeah, if you do a Rose IQ backcourt, you've busted a zone. That's it. They can't zone you up no more.
Yeah.
If you run Rose and IQ in the same backcourt, they cannot zone you up. Like at all. It's just out the window because of Rose's dribble drive penetration and IQ shooting. You just can't do it no more.
Exactly.
And then you throw in Randall in that lineup, or you throw in even Obi Toppin in that lineup. That's it. No team can zone us out anymore. Um, so I think that's what it is. I think that's what the rotation is.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see Tibbs and his assistant coaches what they're coming up with what it's going to be. So it's going to be interesting. Hey man, I was aggravated all day watching Mitch. The last several games, like we did on Guillermo last week. The notes I always write, and people like on the top. Oh, he had a pretty good game, but when you go down into the tape and you watch this guy technique and his bad screens, stupid fouls, lack of effort. Hey, I wrote down today. Alert. Ladies and gentlemen, at 5 minutes and 48 seconds of the first quarter today, Mitch had a hook shot or he was throwing a ball. I don't know what the hell it was. It was an air ball, but it did not look, it looked like somewhat of a shot. So there was a news alert, ladies and gentlemen. It looked like Mitch actually had some semblance of a shot. I'm not sure what it was. I think he went to the New Orleans Noel School of Shooting Technique, but yeah.
I
So
I mean, we can talk about Mitt. Do we want to still talk D Rose or we want to move
yeah,
over to
yeah.
Mitch?
Keep going on D Rose, man. I want you to go, and then we'll go.
We'll go
When you're
Mitch.
finished with that, we'll go to
Go
someplace
Mitch.
else.
The one interesting thing about the D Rose move is that I think this may be the first domino in whatever the other dominoes are for the rest of the up until the trading deadline for us. I think this means Austin Rivers is out. And if Austin Rivers is out, I'm almost sure Nerlens Noel is out too.
Yeah,
Those are the two guys who I see just being out of here because of the D Rose move. We are still in desperate need of a wing player.
terrible,
And
terrible.
and I just see based off the contracts and the numbers and the cap space available, you can package Austin Rivers and Noel and a pick or whatever, and you can get a nice little wing player to finish off the season.
Any speculation,
No
thoughts?
idea.
Okay,
No idea. Not a
didn't
single
know.
clue.
Yeah,
But I mean that's where I would be going if I were the GM. We now have some pieces that won't affect our future too much that could result in a pretty good wing player that we can use.
yeah,
Because we just don't have one at this point.
yeah. Bullock,
And yeah,
Bullock being Bullock,
Bullock and Burks or Bullock and Burks, they're whatever.
yeah,
They're
6'3". That sounds like a shoe company.
Bullock and Burks, yeah.
six six threes, and you're like, wow. And he finishes with seven, just one in the second half. So
Yeah, yeah. So, and then we can also look for a big if we want to go that route as well with that same package. Either way, this is the first domino. I'm happy with the D Rose move. I think people are panicking in terms of how much it's going to do to affect the rotation, but I think people are undervaluing the effect he's going to have on our second unit, on our ability to close out games. And like I said, if you run a Rose IQ backcourt for 10 minutes at a time, no team can zone us out anymore.
yeah,
He's a zone buster, Derrick Rose, because of his dribble drive abilities. So we'll
yeah,
go with there. We'll go from there. We'll go from there. Um, yeah, we'll go from there. He's only like he's not a 30 minutes a game guy anymore. He's a 20-minute per game guy. I think he'll be there to start off the second unit, and I think he'll be there if we need him to finish out a game. Like a D Rose kind of guy would have been perfect for today's fourth quarter
yep,
to just control the game. He can still do that. And from what I've watched of him on and off for the past like 2 or 3 seasons, obviously he doesn't dunk like that no more. He don't jump like that no more. Um, but he still got the first step. He still got this. He's still one of the better ball handlers in the league. He can still beat his guy. Um,
his
yeah,
shots gotten better from when he was
his
younger.
shot's gotten better. I mean, he can consistently hit a mid-range shot. He's like at league average for three-point shooting. I mean, he's our best passer. That's not Julius Randle at this point. um, yeah, I think this is a great move. And it cost us nothing.
Literally,
We traded 0 points per game for 13 points per game.
yeah.
I'll take it.
Hey, Freezy, if you're listening, hey, Ron Cleveland, one of my favorite people in the world. I see him in the chat. Hey, Ron, Freezy, if you want to put out the link out there, Ron, I'd love you to join us tonight. I always love your insights, and I hope all is well. And anybody else to join Coach Colorblocks and myself tonight. Hey, pal, how are you? Hope all is well. Anthony212, Craig Mack, Jarrell Williams. Let's see, I don't want to miss any of our family. And Sima Singh, let me see. Sima's my conscience. He's always telling me the stuff that we need to talk about. So Beasley is the player from the Wolves that Sima wants. I like Malik
Malik
on the
really
court.
busy.
It's
Yeah,
just off the court stuff I get worried about.
and because of that, I just don't see him coming here. I don't think Tibbs is even gonna mess with that.
Yeah, if
I
we
just
didn't
don't
go the
think he
Kevin
is.
Porter route.
Yeah, I just don't even think he's gonna mess with that stuff. He's gonna bring in his hard nosed guys, lunch pail guys. We have a team of lunch pail guys.
Yep.
We have a team of lunch pail. Got some immaturity with Mitch and stuff, but like Randall's been he's very humble and quiet his whole professional career. He works really hard. He's always in shape. RJ's like that. IQ's like that. Taj Gibson's like that. We got a bunch of guys like that.
Yeah, and the scary part, I mentioned this yesterday. Out of the 17 players, we have 7 players that are 22 years old or younger. So, We have RG at 20, Knox at 21, Quick at 21, Frank at 22, Obi at 22, and Mitch at 22. So the $1 million question is: do you think Frank will be part of the next pieces, as you said, the dominoes?
I have no idea, man. He's persona non grata for me, to be honest. If he left today and if he leaves tomorrow, it wouldn't make a difference, I don't think.
Yeah,
I just I've talked at length about Frank. I just don't really see much there. But hey, if he stays, he stays, and if he goes, he goes.
yeah,
I can
and
take it or leave it.
like you said, I don't think we gave up anything, especially at DSJ. I'm old school that in sports, I've never seen a player, an athlete that had back issues or a disc issue where it's not a chronic injury throughout their career, where they're going to have to sit out X amount of games every season to rest the back because it's acting up. So, and especially with the way he plays, I don't think we talked about him losing his athleticism, but he was putting out aggravating. He was putting out in Twitter pictures of him dunking the ball for a change. So he was trying to show his still has hops and all that other stuff. But I just see him injured again, and I don't wish bad on anyone. He's a young kid, and I wish him the best. But like you said, I just don't feel we gave up anything. So hopefully D Rose. He's 32 years old. Am I right on that?
32 or 33 or something like that.
He's 32. So he's 32. He's 2 years young because people were talking about Kyle Lowry, and Kyle's a different type of player, obviously. But Rose, he's obviously he's not the same player as an MVP, but once you're an MVP, you have certain qualities that are spectacular.
Yeah. I like I said, that it's a good move. Don't put too much stock into it. He's only going to give us 20-25 minutes a night, so
Yeah.
we go from there. But a good move for us.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking positive. Last year through 24 games, we were 4-20. So, and we were 2 games at this point into the Mike Miller regime after taking over for Fizdale. So we're 12-13 now, and and also from a stability standpoint, the starting five that we have now is the 20th start for our starting five, and that leads the league. So
Yeah.
yeah, so there hasn't been a lot of continuity across the league, and you can understand it because of this crazy schedule, and just trying to do load management for a lot of players, and injuries are starting on teams piling up. So it's a real interesting year, man.
And the last thing about Rose before we move on to Mitch, we goes without saying, but Rose is a Tibbs guy through and through. That's his guy. He's talked about how great he's been. Their relationship is great. He's played for him every chance he's been able to play for him. He knows the system. So I mean, I'd be shocked if he didn't play Tuesday. I'd be shocked if he didn't play Tuesday.
Yeah. I don't know. Is there anything when you're traded for COVID purposes that you
It
have
might
to?
be, but I have no idea. I got no idea about the new COVID protocol.
Yeah. It's
Assuming he can't play Tuesday, he'll play Tuesday.
yeah. From the chat, Haddoken Sharon said, by the way, Austin Rivers has been talked about in trade talks with contenders, and Peyton with at least one contender. So, like Coach Colorblock said, this is the start of the dominoes falling, and we have all this money, so it'll be interesting. But after, I think it's March 20th is the end of the trade deadline.
Yep.
So well, it's interesting, folks. We'll see how it goes. Hey, point five. Hope all is well. I see you in the chat.
Shall we move on to Mitch?
Let's talk about Mitch. So today, ladies and gentlemen, Mitch, 6 points, 7 rebounds, no assists like usual. He had one block. He was 2 for 2 from the foul line. He played 32 minutes, which is a lot for Mitch. He had 5 personal fouls. Talk to me about Mitch today.
Uh, where to start on Mitchell Robinson, man? He's got to be one of the most polarizing players we have. We have a team of polarizing players like Mitch, Randall, Elf, Frank, Knox. We got a bunch of polarizing guys. Mitch is up there. I was not impressed with the way he played today, and I think he has improved. Not even I think he has definitely improved this season under Tibbs.
And what areas have you seen that improvement in?
he's just showing a lot more on-court discipline, which was the most urgent need for him to fix in these last few years. Because he was jumping for everything, he was fouling out. You couldn't get 25 minutes out of the kid, but now he's playing 30 minutes, 35 minutes. He's not fouling out, so that he's improved on that end.
Not that we
But
saw it in that fifth foul that he picked up,
yeah,
leaving
yeah,
his feet tonight in
yeah,
crunch time or this
yeah.
afternoon.
But then today, and then really these past like maybe 7 to 10 games, he's regressed back to the player who I think he is. And I think it's just a backup center who is a rim runner, who is active on the offensive glass, who's going to get bodied by bigger centers, who can't really do much with the ball in his hands, provides you an athletic presence down low, can learn to anchor a defense, is active on the offensive glass. I think I said that already. Yeah, I think that's what he is. I don't think he's anything more than that. Um,
Do you think he's hurting physically?
no, he's fine.
You think so? Then it's an effort issue?
I think
Because
he's
there's
just
times it's like,
he's
is
not
he
that good.
hurting or is he just
He's just not that good. Something's just not a more complicated answer than that.
Coach, did you hear the point that I made up earlier? I don't know if you came on yet, but there was a play that just aggravated me. There was a turnover by Miami. Randall got the ball at the foul line. He started dribbling up, and Mitch was right behind him. And I'm watching. I'm crazy when I watch it. I stop it, rewind it, stop it, rewind it, stop it, rewind it, and I'm like, why isn't Mitch screaming? Watch it, watch it, watch it. Mitch is right behind him, doesn't say anything, and Kelly's coming up on the side of him, knocks the ball away for her, and I'm just like, come on, why wasn't Mitch communicating? So the guy just aggravates me, and just how many times?
So for what makes Mitch's case so complicated is that he's already basically won the bet, so to speak. From where he got drafted to the way he's been performing in the NBA so far, he's won that gamble. And so that he has a lot of leverage in terms of the contract he can dictate this upcoming offseason, and he has a lot of leverage in how the rest of the league is going to view him. And it's really only going to be positive things. Because the story for him is that, oh, undrafted, second round, late pick, whatever, all this tribulation going through high school and college, but here I am producing 30 minutes a game at an NBA level. And so what I think is so complicated about that is that it makes it harder to develop him the way Tibbs probably wants to develop him, knowing very well that if Tibbs makes a misplay with the way he handles Mitch, Mitch will leave.
Yep.
But on the flip side of that, if Mitch is this overperformer kind of guy, then we have to pay up Mitch. And then that question is, do we pay him up? And he's got a really complicated situation.
Yeah.
He's got a really complicated situation. I don't think he's worth it personally. I don't think the money he's going to ask for is going to be worth it. And I don't even think that he will eventually play up to whatever money he's going to want to command. If he asks for anything more than 12 or 13 million dollars, then I don't think you re-sign him. Like Cody Zeller makes 14 million dollars a year. I'd rather spend that money on Cody Zeller. Like it just randomly throwing a name out there, but like if you're gonna spend that kind of money in a center, I'd rather spend it on a guy like that. I guess the other wrinkle to it is there's a decent center market this like off season, so whoever gets paid first will dictate what Mitch gets paid, which may or may not be a good thing for us.
Yeah, he did a couple of things today where you just were scratching your head. Bam was like 4 feet outside the 3-point line, and for the life of me, I don't know why Mitch came out that far. It's like, go back, stay back, let him hang out there. He wants to take a 33-foot 3-pointer, let him, Mitch. But why are you coming out? You're now putting yourself in a position defensively, compromising yourself. So it's like, haven't you learned that in 3 years already? Or the coach is screaming at you like, where positioning? You're like, get back, get back. What are you doing?
It's funny, like 3 coaches now, Mike Miller, Fizdale, and Thibodeau, have all said the same thing about Mitch. Yet we're the ones who disagree with all 3 coaches. they've all said he's just a rim running center, energy guy. And every time a coach says that about Mitch, we get really defensive. Oh no, no, he could shoot. I've seen the Instagram videos, this, that, and
You
get,
don't hear.
let him rock, let him do this, and then lo and behold, he's really only shown to be a capable rim running athletic center in the NBA in the past 3 years.
Yeah.
So, maybe the coaches are right. Maybe
Yeah.
we don't know everything.
And when you see in Miami, Precious Achua and others, you say to yourself, you can pick up. I think he's really raw, but there's a kid Isaiah Jackson out of the Kentucky connection, a power forward, 6'10", 6'11". So I'm saying to myself, I think he's going to be a late second rounder, or we'll see. He's very raw,
Not
but he
sorry, not regarding numbers.
okay.
What does Mitch do that is different than any other center at his replacement level?
Meaning he's a shot blocker, but other than that, I can't tell you.
And it's an honest question to ask. Like, ignoring numbers, like what does he do differently or uniquely than any other center at his market value? And I can't think of anything.
Me either. I know I said, do you think he's hurting? Because I'm like saying
Maybe, but
he doesn't seem like he has that same pop or hop, or bounce like a year or so ago. And I saw he has tape on his shoulder, and I know he tweaked an ankle a couple of weeks ago. Pardon me, but is that guy aggravating? Play after play, and I look at my notes, and it's like the screens. The last game against the Bulls. Just screens that he was just. No, I meant the Blazers. Just bad screens, and it was funny because we have Taj now. It's like, now that's how you set a screen. I did a couple plays today.
it should. I dislike that Taj looked way better than Mitch did in those little 20 minutes he played or whatever. He just had command of the game. He had control of the game. He set good screens. He knew where he had to be. I don't know. Doesn't bode well.
He called out good rotations on defense. You saw
Hey,
him?
Freeze, I didn't realize you were there. I thought you were bringing
Freezy?
somebody. Yeah, I'm sorry. How are you? How are you, my friend?
Hey, man, I'm well. Man, you guys are great, man. Yeah, y'all are awesome.
We're just guys hanging, talking ball. So, hey, so tell us, what do you think about the trade?
I'm very uncertain. I feel like it's a weird love triangle. Like if you remember soap operas from back in the day, As the World Turns, is what I feel like. I feel like when you had Tom Thibodeau, who had a relationship with Derrick Rose, the Knicks, who had a relationship with Tom Thibodeau, and the Rose, who had a relationship with the Knicks and Tom Thibodeau. I feel like we have like a weird love triangle going on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hey, Freezy, I wanted you to come on a little early because I thought we were going to do a duet about Herb and Peaches and Herb.
Reunited.
Reunited.
So you got it. So you got where I was going.
Oh God, you and I, a lot of people, Freezy, I don't know if it's our age or just we're soulmates from another galaxy, but I say may the Schwartz be with you, and he goes, he gets immediately Spaceballs, and then he'll say something and I get it, like a 3-hour tour.
Right.
So we're always reading each other, like we have this chemistry that the Lord gave us that it's just so natural. So keep going on Rose, man. Pardon me. Go.
I don't know where this is going, man. As soon as Tom Thibodeau got the job, this was predictable. You know what I mean? You were like, okay, so how long will it take for him to get Derrick Rose? Is basically what I thought. I kept that to myself, like a lot of other stuff. Another thing I kept to myself was the him coming in and sounding like Larry Brown thing from back in the day, from like 2000, whatever it was. And so I keep stuff that like
I hope
like
he's
that
better
type of
than
stuff.
Stevie Francis.
Hey man, you notice that the old school coach comes in and the first thing he wants to do is anyway. And anyway, I don't
Did you
want
hear
to
the coach thinking that Peyton's going to still start and that maybe they're going to switch up and D Rose will be the starting point guard on the second team and Quick will move to the off guard, which will, as the coach perfectly said, is a zone buster lineup, man.
Yeah,
With his penetration, D Rose's penetration, and Quick shooting, man.
yeah,
Wow, that could be exciting.
yeah. I think that is the formula. I mentioned that. Um, I would mention that same line of thinking maybe because maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, where if you have Derrick Rose and quickly be the backcourt off the bench, that it will totally free up Tom Thibodeau to do a lot of things defensively and offensively because now it gives him a more dependable offense on that second unit as opposed to eeny meeny miny mo on whoever catches fire on the second unit on a specific night. Free Keith mentioned that also that that the guys on the second unit is not predictable. And I think Derrick Rose will benefit from having another guard in the backcourt to take pressure off him as
Hmm.
he tries to navigate a full season also. And Derrick Rose doesn't have to play on the ball. Quickly can play on some. Derrick Rose can play a lot, on ball. But my only concern is now that you have added Derrick Rose, who do you bump out of your 10-man rotation? Is it
I
Austin
think it's
Rivers?
Rivers. Yeah, it's Rivers. It's got to be Rivers.
Yeah, yeah.
Got to be Rivers.
I mean that's gotta be frustrating if you're Austin Rivers though. You know,
Uh,
Well,
well, he'd be fine.
hey, it's all about productivity in this league and what you do on the floor. And he has looked terrible. As our esteemed colleague Kevin says, he had two great games against Utah and has
He's
only
right.
averaged 3 points a game. Otherwise,
Kev's right. Like Rivers
he
minus
is.
those games has done absolutely nothing for us.
Other than bonehead plays, where you're
Yeah.
like, what were you thinking? Whether bad inbounds plays or dribble, 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 dribble. And it's like, what are you're taking up 15 seconds of the shot clock, and then when you finally give it up, it doesn't show it in the box score, but you're giving that poor soul 4 seconds to put up a shot.
right. I agree. I agree. I agree with you. Shout out to Legion of the Next podcast. What's up? What's up, man?
Yeah. Yo, yeah, let me join us tonight. He's asking for the link. I miss my Guillermo. But yeah, so I'm excited. But Coach said, this is the start of dominoes, and I agree with him so much that Freezy, we need a three in the worst way, man.
Need a wing so bad.
Bad,
So bad.
bad.
I and maybe this is why this weird Obi stuff has happened. Right? Like they're playing him on the wing, and he's never played on the wing. They haven't tried him down low, even though there's been time for him to get it. And part of me is thinking, well, we ain't got much else, so we might as well try him out there. I don't know. Hopefully he can get down there now. What up, Gmo?
Hey, what's up, guys? How you guys doing?
All right, how are you?
Congratulations to Tom Brady and the refs for winning another championship. Couldn't do it without the 12th man tonight. So, congrats, Tom Brady. You're one of the more overrated so-called goats in the game of football. Yeah, salute to that Bucks defensive line. They were, whew.
Yeah, poor Mahomes. That boy is going to be putting ice all over his
Oh,
body.
that defensive line. I'll give it to them. That was beautiful. I love good defenses in football. So
Me too.
salute to that. But yeah, Knicks. So I do have to disagree with you, Coach Color Blocks. When you talk about the available point guards, honestly, I'm not sure if it was Tom Thibodeau was just yearning to get that guy, but there's so many players who rejected us this summer or who didn't want to come here, and unfortunately, look, I mean, you call it coincidence or whatever, but Derrick Rose was probably the most available player for giving up as little. As little. I'm saying I'm butchering the wording.
Dollar store prices.
Right. Thank you. That's the best way to put it. So you're not giving up a first for Derrick Rose, and I don't think that there was a first that you say, hey, I'm going to give up. This. I'm doing this to get this type of player. I don't think they were available. So it's like the best available. And just even having an average point guard at that position over Elfrid Payton, I don't say it could do wonders, but we could do a lot better just having that. You also talked about EP and Derrick Rose and who will be starting. So
Any thoughts? What's going through that great mind of yours?
EP's his defense is a little overrated. Again, when you look at the on and off numbers, I think outside this game, I don't know what it is for this game. And I think I looked at it before the last game, so I might be a little bit off, but I think they were about the same offensive rating for the opponents, whether he's on and off for EP. So, and I'll check it now just to make sure I'm not speaking out of my butt. But yeah, the offensive rating for when he is on, when he's on is 109.8, when he's off, 108.7. So it's actually not bad. It was even at like a game or so ago. He's another guy who doesn't get around screens quick enough. I think that they may play Rose at the starting position again. You know, EP was getting 18 minutes at some point when there were games where Quickly was getting 30, 32, 33 minutes. I do see where you're coming from, where you're saying that you have Derrick Rose and have Quickly as his own breaker, but they've already been doing that in the second unit anyway. When you had guys like Rivers and whoever the so-called point guard was, just many times we didn't get the ball out to him. Another thing, and I didn't make this point, I believe it was Hinton Murphy on my channel, or comes on my channel, Suits Hinton Murphy, and he said that having EP actually might help a guy like Obi because EP passes so much to the power forward and Julius Randle. Having a guy like Obi where you could play that two-man game might, build out. Granted, it'll be one of Obi's strengths, but it'll definitely get him a little bit more acclimated to the game, to the speed of the game, just offensively, right? Working on the pick and roll pop. I believe today in the fourth quarter, he actually ran a nice little. Was it this game? Yeah, he ran around 10:30. He ran a nice little pick and roll where he ended up on a baseline and then ran to the basket off the roll and then dunked it. So. I agree with you guys with the Austin Rivers thing. I think Austin Rivers is a guy out already. There's so-called rumors that he's going to be the next guy out. Obviously, his first year is guaranteed. His next two aren't.
Wait a minute. If you look at that, maybe I'm looking at Basketball Reference, and it just looks like he has a contract that ends this year.
So it's guaranteed this year. The next 2 years are not guaranteed, but it's a 3-year, $10 million deal. I think they could just cut him. I think that what you're looking at is I think they have to. It's probably an option they have to pick up. But I know for a fact that first year is only the first year is guaranteed. The next two aren't.
Oh, because it said he signed a 2-year, $15 million contract in July 2019. This year
for Austin Rivers?
No, Derrick Rose.
Oh, no, I was talking about Austin Rivers.
I apologize. My question was, and Coach thinks we're going to re-sign him, but I'm saying, so we gave up a second-round pick, and we gave up DSJ for a guy whose contract's running out.
Yeah, I mean, but the thing about Derrick Rose, he's I think he likes familiarity because there were talks. Remember at the beginning of the season, he was giving the whole spiel about how he didn't want to leave Detroit. He felt comfortable there, even being a mentor to Killian. And I know you guys said, Derrick Rose being a mentor. But again, he's a guy who's been stricken by that so-called just abrupt ending to such a beautiful beginning with the Chicago Bulls. I won't say he's mentally afraid, but I think he's a little sensitive. So even trying to go to contender, look, if Tom Thibodeau gives him a space, obviously familiarity, trust, and they have that so-called codependence, like Coach Colorblocks. It was a coach who said, no, I think it was Nick G who pointed out before.
Nick, yeah,
it was Nick.
He was talking about Knox.
That's another guy. I definitely think that he might resign here. I'm not sure. Now, if he resigns here, obviously, I think the Knicks are going to be looking for a better long-term option. Obviously, draft. Free agent is kind of tough. Obviously, people saying Kyle Lowry, but he's up there in age as well too. He'd be 35.
2 years older. Yeah.
Right. So it's tough. We're just in one of these weird positions where.
If we get Suggs, I don't care nothing.
All right. You see what Freezy does? You see what Freezy is the biggest troll I've ever met in my life.
Don't you just love him?
Purposely. A few days ago, he was talking about how overrated Suggs was. He comes into my show today talking about how overrated Suggs was. I said, Freezy, I give you 3 games: the Iowa game, the Pacific game, and the first game against Kansas, and then the Auburn game if you want to watch that too, and tell me that Suggs is not an impactful player on 3 levels. And now he's coming on here now to try to troll me. Freezy, why do you do? Can you just be peaceful tonight? I'm not even like happy buzz. I'm like angry buzz just because of that stupid game I watched.
Right.
Can you just let me rest, man? I don't need this. I don't need you and the refs ganging up on me tonight, man. Let's just talk about the Knicks. We don't have to talk about Suggs tonight. But obviously, Suggs. Look, the Knicks could get Suggs, that would probably solve the point guard woes. But
it should be tough. Right. If we get so the thing about Suggs being overrated, man, and I just want to clarify.
Overrated.
Yeah.
Thank you, Stevie.
So okay. So this guy is not. So this guy is not Jesus Christ, man. I mean, come on.
He's playing on a very good team, and he's willing to let the other guys on his team eat. So at the sacrifice of his stats.
Like I said, Freezy, I'm telling you, go watch. I think it's a Pacific game.
That's the reason why we have the lack of communication, because I want to clarify, but every time I start, man, y'all jump me. What I want to say is,
you get his feet. He's too big on top. I can't get him down.
I'm gonna let Freezy continue like Kanye West and Taylor Swift, but Freezy is a lot. Don't fall for Freezy's tricks. All right, go ahead, Freezy. Go ahead.
All right. So my opinion, Cade Cunningham is a generational talent, right?
Did you see his game yesterday?
All I want to do is finish.
6 turnovers.
I just want to finish just one time about this draft. That's all.
All right, I'm shutting up.
So, because I was gonna mention that same thing. So I was gonna say, Cade Cunningham to me is a generational talent, right? But he has flaws, and I think it is I think it's chemistry dependent, right? Like these kids. If Cade Cunningham was in year 3, you wouldn't see games this terrible from him with that squad, right? And at the same time, I know the kid has flaws in his game that he'll have to refine. But the reason why I think he's a generational talent is because I feel like even with an average NBA coach, this guy can become a multiple-time All-Star, right? And the thing with the draft class, like Evan Mobley and Jalen Suggs and Jalen Green, I feel like these guys are going to be. I think they're going to be great. But I'm not ready to call all 8 of these guys the top 8 generational talents. I think Cade is the one that's generational, and the others are going to be really, 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 really good. Kind of like the 2004 draft class, where you might have a few Hall of Famers come out of this class. But I'm not willing to say like the top 8 to 10 guys are all generational talent. I think that's too much hyperbole. It's too much hype. You know what I'm saying? I just can't fathom a class with 8 Hall of Famers in it. I just can't see that.
Freezy, no one said anything about Hall of Famer. No one even went anywhere close to any of those so-called
use the generational word.
and I've said before that Cade Cunningham might be slightly over it because people are looking at him as a point guard. He's not really a point guard. He's just a guard. He's a talented player. He's the reason why people look at him because the poise, right? His game is so NBA ready that if you stick like here, and I've said this before, I did a little video on him and I said that he reminds. Oh no, I didn't say this in the video, but he reminds you a little bit of like a CJ McCollum. He's already advancing, picking the spots on the floor. He doesn't have the quickest of dribbles. He catches defenders. He catches defenders off their dribbles, right? So if you put him on even a quasi talented team, in the very early years, you could build around like there's the room of development or the road to development. You could say probably 50% of a lot of the hard work. Right, how we want Kevin Knox to develop his ability to create his own shot.
Right,
Cade already has that. Right, they're just parts of his game that are already developed. That's why he's looked so good. But with Jalen Suggs, no one's sitting here saying that Jalen Suggs is going to be. I haven't seen one comparison saying Jalen Suggs is going to be CP3 or Isaiah Thomas. No one has even breathed that into existence. The thing about Jalen Suggs is that again, Jalen Suggs' ceiling and his potential comes from the fact that one, he's playing on a loaded team, but even in that loaded team. On many nights, he's either the best player or the second player. You're talking about a team that has Drew Timme, a forward. I think he's a sophomore who literally for NCAA, he can dominate in the paint many times, rolling up the pick and roll, operating that continuity offense, the bulldog offense. You got a guy in Corey Kispert who's literally probably I don't want to say he's the best, but he's probably top 3 shooters in NCAA this season. He's a senior, and Jalen Suggs, his impact, his defense doesn't get talked about. He has great defense. You're talking about getting the passing lanes. You're talking about hounding the defenders. Great. I think he's a really good defender. You're talking about assists. You see all these little pick and rolls that these guys run and the slick passes that we wish they could make. Remember, you're talking about DSJ not being able to make those little slick passes to Mitch roll into the basket. Suggs does that in his sleep. Suggs' court awareness, if you're talking about breaking a zone, he can break his zone. And his shooting, I'll give you, I think it's an Iowa game. He went 7 for 10 from 3. The guy shot off the dribble with contact, a set shot. He would break down any zone the Knicks are playing. In this day, he'd break them down, right?
He's explosive too.
And you're talking about and he's, even though he's not. So when I say explosive, so there's levels of it, right? I think he's shifty explosive, right? Like he can get that step, and then he's very adept at finishing with both hands around the basket. The now other explosives like John Morant, that's just long.
That's generational.
That's generational talent right there. But Jalen Suggs, I think, and even with Jalen Suggs, I think that's scary about him is that he's having this impact in a system where he is not the so-called main guy. So imagine a system where you're constantly running the pick and rolls, you're running the horns plays, you're running the Spain pick, you're running all these sets that are very guard dominant, and he's able to facilitate attack and shoot. Triple threat essentially from that position where he's getting that usage, he's getting that attention. If you had him at guard, bro, just like you did with Frank, you're gonna switch up on Suggs and you're gonna praise Suggs. I put money on it.
And also, one other thing, Guillermo, is he's a dog. He's made from Madison Square Garden. His personality, we had too many discussions this season so far about mental toughness. How how do we get Knox tougher, or how do we get him? You're not going to have that conversation with Suggs.
And someone said that we had the same conversation with Obi. I did not hear this with Obi. Please don't say Obi was a different draft profile than Suggs. But again, Suggs could be a bust. Again, it's not exact science, but I there's certain players that I feel comfortable with. I felt comfortable with Mikal Bridges. I felt comfortable with obviously John Morant was an easy one, but John Morant. I go back to MBK. I said I would take John Morant over Zion, and I got killed. And I put money on it. You guys would take John Morant over many of you guys. So I'm not saying trust me, but I'm just saying
no, we're brothers, because I said the same thing. I said Ja was basketball operations pick and Zion was the marketing department.
Exactly. Hey. John Morant is like remember Mario Williams, the Texans, and who's a USC quarterback?
It's supposed to be Vince Young or Reggie Bush, yeah.
And Reggie Bush was a hype, and I remember watching Reggie Bush at USC. His best thing was running off the tackles. He was not a guy who was gonna hit into the center and the guard and getting through those holes. He was a guy who's gonna
that lefty quarterback
bounce right off the tackle and give you a home run if he can. And Mario Williams was the so-called what? And he was a better player for the Texans than Reggie Bush was for the Saints. So I'm just saying, you guys, please just go watch Suggs. But I would love for you guys to talk about the so-called now I don't know if you guys agree with me. I think I've talked about this with Coach Color Blocks before, but I'm not sure I spoke with Stevie. If you guys think that there could be a possible issue regarding the front office and the coach, regards to their vision for the team, with that, the first pick, if we get a high first pick, I think it'll be easy, right? If you get 1 through 7, I think it'll be easy to pick the guys. But if you get, say, a late lottery, I could see Tom Thibodeau wanting to go for a more of a ready-made player, like a Corey Kispert or Moses Moody, and I can see the front office trying to go for a guy like BJ Boston. And that's where that whole UKCAA, which BJ Boston is both of, that could come into play. And that's where you start to see the rift. That's why you see guys like Kenny Payne and Johnny Bright already there if things fall, right? Tom Thibodeau was not put in a position to succeed. Yeah, I mean, I know EP, he's using EP, but if Tom Thibodeau had his druthers, he would probably have he probably would have made some trades to get some players.
From that Parcells mode. You want me to cook the dinner, but you won't let me buy the groceries.
And here's a leverage. If Tom Thibodeau gets into the playoffs with this team, right, now you have a guy who overachieved with players that, again, this team's not that talented versus
we're less talented than last year.
I'm just saying, just be very. I don't know what you guys' opinion is. I don't want to change the topic if you guys are talking about the game still, but
no, it's freestyle night, man.
Man, just jumping around, dude.
Yeah, do your thing, and you know what? So I touched on that a little bit already. I think
You did?
there is yeah, I think there is a genuine disconnect between Tom Thibodeau and every front office. You know what I'm saying? And so
Well, he
it's
used to
just
be the front
weird,
office in Minnesota.
And they fired him real fast for that one.
right?
They got rid of him
Right.
so
Because
fast.
I don't every coach is not going to be a great evaluator of talent. You know what I'm saying? I understand who Tom Thibodeau is, and he's going to play the guy he feels the most comfortable with. But I'm not comfortable with him making front office decisions at all. And I mean, just the mere fact of you saw what he did to Minnesota and didn't get and wasn't. I mean, I don't know. Hey, you coming this way? You coming this way? Okay. Yeah, I don't think my man has a clear understanding of. I don't trust him. Is basically what I'm getting at. I think he's just a coach.
I don't think so. I think you guys are being. I think we look at Tom Thibodeau is that we again the some of the monikers have been developed, right? Overuses players, too defensive. Let's be honest. I mean, but there's certain players that we've seen develop, like Julius Randle. That was a guy I did not think would develop. Just given his age, I understand or his years in the NBA. What was it, 7 years in the
He's a
NBA?
vet. He's a full-on vet.
Right, and yeah, he's a full-on vet. Kind of his stubbornness.
At
I didn't think that
26.
he would turn into this point forward. And he has. He's turned into a legit point forward. RJ Barrett, a guy who's had efficiency issues since college, shot 32% from in college. I think 40% from the field, maybe a little bit lower than that in college. A guy who's coming in. I don't know how many games now he's shooting. What I mean, he had a terrible game today, or not great game today, but the guy has been inching around 43% field goal percentage. The three is inching up around 30. Again, that's not great, but given where he was earlier this season, you're talking about a guy who's slowly becoming into a secondary playmaker. Mitchell Robinson, for all the qualms we have about him, the guy's averaging about 30 minutes a night. He has not fouled out yet. He's one of the better offensive rebounders in the game.
He is.
His defense has gotten better. Again, do we have qualms about him playing against some stronger centers? Yes, but his game has improved. I have to give him credit. And quickly,
Well,
he's a rookie, but again, everybody says, "Oh, Tom Thibodeau, he doesn't depend on," and he's probably suit to SB Sports. He highlighted. He said, "You guys are probably playing quickly more than they played Butler."
right.
When Butler was a rookie, Butler was a young guy, and quickly he's being there to close games. He's depending on quickly, like he's a legit. He's Chauncey Billups there. You know what I mean, in a game. So again, I think we don't have the shooters to take teams out of the zone effectively, right? But when teams do run zone, you've seen Tom Thibodeau experiment. Double screen up top, Spain pick and roll. You've seen a lot of things. The triangle. You've seen triangle. You've seen horns. You see the wing action, drive to the basket, kick out to the opposite wing.
So a double screen the other day. I think Johnny Bryant brought over from Utah.
And also another thing, every guard on our team, they learn how to
call that play the Boston play.
Pick and roll. That's a Tom Thibodeau staple. That's teaching, right? And let's be honest, trapping guys on the hip. The better point guards in this league, up to better to elite and top of the game, all those guys either came to NBA doing it already or they've learned it quickly, right? And let's be honest, Fizzo wasn't teaching these guys how to trap defenders on the hip off the pick and roll. I've seen RJ Barrett do it. I've seen Quickly do it. I've seen EP do it. I've seen even Knox do it early in the season. So that's development. But what we look at is like, low scoring and blah, blah, but we don't have talent like that. He's trying to help us win the best way we can while developing players. And even look at Obi. Even how Obi's being used on the perimeter, that's development. It's not pretty because when you work through your weaknesses, it looks obviously not your strength, so it looks ugly. So we got to be patient. I think Tom Thibodeau is better than what we assess him. Give him some talent, and then come back and assess him.
I always thought he was an underrated development guy because he was around for a lot of Team USA basketball.
Yeah,
like he was a big part of those players in development, and he did a lot in Chicago and a lot in Minnesota too.
And Coach, as you said
what?
earlier, if we had a 3, everything would have looked different so far this year. If Knox had, realized the potential that everyone wanted, or Bullock was more consistent, or Burks was injury prone, and if we had a real 3, the whole team would be different right now.
But this team is a swing man away from being a real playoff team.
Yeah. Swingman
think
from
so?
Randall being a triple-double dude.
Yeah, Freezy. If you look at
Right.
Bullocks, you know how many games Bullock has had with like 0 from 4 from 3, 0 from 3 from 3, and then nothing else. Imagine, and this sounds
Yeah.
crazy. Imagine a Zach LaVine at that position.
Oh, wow.
You wouldn't even need. I'm not saying you wouldn't
Right.
need.
And
You still
so
want a high level point guard, but go ahead, Freezy.
what I was gonna say is so first of all, I think the myth that Tom Thibodeau doesn't play young guys is indeed a myth, because when you look back to his rosters in Chicago, when you saw a young Taj Gibson, a young Noah, a young Rose, Ding wasn't young, but you saw him play a
Hendrick.
young core of guys, and then when he went to Minnesota, he also had a young core in Minnesota also.
Yeah,
So
Wiggins, Cat, yeah.
this myth that Tom Thibodeau won't play young guys is indeed a myth. You know what I mean? I think
wasn't he also behind?
I think what it is he's not playing. Say it again.
No, I was gonna say, wasn't he also behind? I'm assuming he was behind Rondo too on the Celtics.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was Tibbs.
Yeah,
that
good catch,
that is
Coach.
interesting. Yeah.
Second rounder Rondo. Yes.
That was Tibbs.
Right.
Go
So
ahead,
you can
Breezy.
throw you could throw in what's the guy name that Guillermo keeps bringing up? The dude, the 6'8" defender Boston used to have. Not Leon Poe, the other guy.
Tony Allen.
Oh no, not Tony. No, Tony Allen.
Kendrick
6'4",
Perkins.
right?
Oh, James
No,
Posey.
it was another
James Posey.
James Posey. That's him.
Posey.
Yeah.
I was gonna say PJ Brown.
James, you could say you could say James Posey. You can bring up a lot of guys
You're cool,
with
Coach.
Tom Thibodeau, man. Yeah, you could even if you go back, you can even point to his time with the Knicks when the Knicks had young guys like Anthony Masons and guys like that. So,
Yeah.
but what I want to point out though is the Tom Thibodeau small forward thing. I just don't historically. I just don't think he features small forwards, and so I don't think small forward is an issue for him. I mean, aside from Ding,
That's
you know
not
what I'm
true.
saying?
But he Levine credited him even in that 1 year for part of his development. Remember,
I was
Tom
gonna say,
Thibodeau.
what if we don't even call it a small forward? We just need like a slasher.
Wing, yeah.
It just need a wing. It's not even like small forward.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
I think
So
that
I'm
we
talking-
have
yeah.
to we put Tom Thibodeau too much in a box. Even with the, and I'm not saying you said this, Freezy, but I just want to go to a point that you brought up real quick. When we talk about him not playing players again, because people say, "Oh, these kids got to get a lot more time and all that stuff." But think about this, right? A lot of these kids have never had discipline on the basketball court, right? I'm talking about legit coaching. I'm talking about if they're in an AAU game and they're there to score 30 points, right? But the guy they're playing against is scoring 25 and with ease. They don't have coaches in AAU saying, yo, defensive principles are trash. You're sitting until you improve such and such and such. They said, nah, showcase because we're trying to get you to such and such college and help out your draft stock so you could hit us off on the back end. I'm only joking, but you know it's true.
And it's hard with these dudes, one and done, to get any discipline, meaning there's no reinforcement. You're there and they're gone.
And so a lot of these guys, and you're talking about mentally too, a lot of these guys are not developed where in terms of responsibility, accountability, especially if you're undrafted or whatever, you may have a little bit more accountability because like I have to work hard to get to this position. Might be a little bit different, but a lot of these guys like Kevin Knox, I mean, he literally had everything handed to him at Kentucky regarding the offense, right? And he wasn't asked to really do much else. He gets to the Knicks, he got a lot of playing time his first year, right? But was that truly development? Second year, he got less minutes, but he couldn't hit a three to save his life, really. You know, many times I've seen him, he'd have games and he'd get an open shot and he couldn't execute. Now, if you develop, there's certain things that, okay, you shouldn't be losing them right away or doing that way worse in your second year. So the thing with Kevin Knox and even with Obi, Tom Thibodeau is the whole Pavlov's dog thing, right? If you mess up, you don't play. If you do so in terms of defensive assignments, backdoor cuts, allowing
behavioral modification.
Right. And when you do good, okay, you get more minutes. Go ahead, do your thing. We'll develop parts of your game. But because he did with Obi, I believe it was one of Chicago. I think it was the first one. He pulled him out after a mistake. And I don't think Obi got many minutes after. I think it was the first or second. I can't remember. It was one of the Chicago games. Kevin Knox, again, a guy in Kevin Knox who really doesn't do anything else but catch the ball in the corner, he doesn't defend well consistently, doesn't really attack, doesn't do much else Tom Thibodeau's like, all right, here's your homework. Until you do this in practice, show me. Now I give you these minutes. You're not going to get back into rotation. And that's development to say, hey, this is discipline. And it's only going to make these players better. Think about like Kevin Knox got all those minutes. I'm not picking on Kevin Knox. I'm just using an example. Kevin Knox got a lot of minutes. DSJ got a lot of minutes his rookie year with the Mavericks. Got 29% usage rate. And he was literally about to go back to the D League until the Pistons pick him up. And we can see now, because the Pistons don't have any point guard, we'll see the lack of development DSJ's went through. So, guys, just be patient. When people are like, we didn't get minutes, it's not necessarily about the minutes, right? I think Tom Thibodeau was saddled with the player that probably wasn't his pick. He's trying to find the best way to use him and prepare him to be used with a guy like Randall. That's why they're developing his perimeter game. That's why they're developing his pick and pop, pick and roll game as a guy playing off the pick, right? They're trying to make him more versatile so they can see, okay, this guy's not great defensively, but I could try to get him to average defense, but have a really stout or really solid perimeter game. Can we possibly put him in a starting lineup with a guy like Randall and run those rotations? I think that's what they're trying to work to. So we have to be.
They have a coach sitting next to him. Obi sits next to a coach during the game, so he could, point those things out and try to learn that way. And you can see when he makes a mistake, man, he has that look on his face. Oh no! The coach was telling me, and I just did the exact opposite what the coach told me.
I like Obi's. And it sounds corny as hell. I like Obi's attitude when
his energy,
but when he knows he makes a mistake, it's almost like, damn, I made it. All right, I'm gonna get it tomorrow. I know I'm not gonna get back in, but I'm gonna get it tomorrow. Versus guys like Knox, Jay. Knox is, I've seen one. It was the Coach Color Blocks. What was the game where he oh no, it was a Hawks game. It was
Toronto.
No, it was a Hawks game.
Okay.
He fouled Trae Young. Trae Young switched onto him, drove to the basket, and Knox stupidly draped his hands over him. And it was not Payne. It was Johnny Bryant talking to him. And he kind of almost had to like push his head like and Knox was like, oh man. DSJ, I've seen it. Guys are trying to communicate with him. He's just like, in a timeout, like,
shoulders are slumped.
Like, yeah, they're trying to help. They're not here to, what I mean? But I see Obi's like, all right, I messed up. All right, I got you, coach. Like, that's the type of attitude you want from play. So be very patient with Obi. I think the development is coming out. Granted, if they package him for somebody, they may trade him, whatever. But just be patient with Obi, man. I see a lot of good, even in the 6 or the 10 minutes he gets to play night out.
I feel very strongly that in the last 5 or so games, you see it slowing him down a little for him. He's had a couple of glitches, but other than that, he seems to be getting a little better. Although he had a 3 the other night that I said that the traffic controllers at Newark Airport picked up on their radar screen. But other than that, his hops and everything. But I think he's getting comfortable. But as Coach said, at this point he's so point guard dependent. The kid, for him to really be better or develop is probably the best way to say it. So, hey fellas, got a question. I always like to interact with our fam. Marion Davis said, "Will IQ minutes reduce when Rose comes to the Knicks, and will it affect Rivers' place in the rotation?"
I think it affects Rivers. I don't think it affects IQ. This actually answers your first question, Gmo. I think you start Elf because he gets Randall comfortable, and I also think D Rose is that playmaker off the bench we don't have, and I also think he's just been playing 6-man these past few years, anyways. And I could totally see a D Rose IQ backcourt. No problem running that.
Yeah, I can see. I can see both. I can see a D Rose. I can see D Rose, RJ. I can see a D Rose quickly. I think that again, quickly playing off ball. They're trying to develop that because many times off ball. I don't know what his numbers are off the ball shooting from the perimeter, but he's taking a few bricks that look terrible. So he definitely could work on that, and that could come with either, right? With EP, even though. The dribble drive ability of Rose and his passing, which is better than
anybody here.
Than anybody.
Anybody
on this team for the most part. I think it benefits both sides. But I mean, it remains to be seen. I just feel the thing about it though is that do you guys see? I've seen the past few games. Again, I apologize. I missed the first half of this game, but the past few games before this, we're playing with a lot more pace in the first half in regards to getting in and out of our sets a lot more quickly. Now, I'm not saying we're running up the floor, but in regards to run the pick and roll, it's a lot quicker, right? Do you think that was like he could be leaning towards a D Rose to start? Because again, D Rose, if you look at his pass distribution, is a lot more dispersed than your boy EP, right?
That's a $1 million question because I thought the same thing and coach thinks that EP will start and Rose will come off the bench because I initially thought that it's going to be a Rose, RJ, Bullock, Randall, and Mitch, and coach thinks nope. I think we're going to stick with what we have, and Rose will come in, and probably Rivers will be the casualty that'll be on the bench, and Quick will move over to the off guard.
I think you go either way, but it's just
right.
I just feel
so I wanted I wanted to offer up an alternative to what you guys were saying, and so take this as somebody thinking about something a different way, and not that I don't like your point. So what I think is when you said adding more slashing would make our offense better, I kind of see it differently. I feel like with the addition of Derrick Rose, you've added a guy that can get to the basket. I think our position of need right now, and it's glaring because we're the only team in the league that may not have it. We need more bigs that can shoot and space the floor.
Oh yeah,
that's the other thing. That's the other thing too.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and not just be Randall dependent. Like just because Randall is shooting 40% from three, we should say Randall is our big that can shoot. I mean other guys, like when you rotate the ball away from Randall, the defense has to at least fear the balance that's on the floor. Because when you trade the ball away from Randall and it winds up in Mitch's hands, you don't have to respect that. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to respect Taj out to the 3-point line. You know what I'm saying? Nerlens Noel is not going. You don't have to respect Nerlens Noel out to the 3-point line. But if you had another guy that can shoot, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying high volume. I'm just saying being a threat. Like you have to respect
you want me to name your name?
I think
Freezy,
it will open up.
Freezy, you want me to name your
sir.
name? I'll give you a name right now. Mike Muscala from OKC.
Okay.
He's only averaging 9.7 points a game,
Mike Muscala.
18.2 minutes a game, but he's shooting
injured?
39. I don't think he's. Let me check. I'm looking at Basketball Reference. I don't see.
I thought I saw him on a banner for some reason. My crazy brain on a banner on NBA TV or something. Hopefully,
let me check. I don't see. Oh, wait, hold on. No. Oh, yeah, he just had a concussion. All right, well, that's
okay.
Good. Well, long term. Hopefully, obviously, you hope he recovers from that. But just thinking long term, a guy like Mike Muscala. Shooting 39.3% from the three, 5.5 attempts a game. He's not the greatest of defenders or rebounders, but you're talking about a guy who come in off the bench and give you that scoring option from the front court. A big who can take out other big men from the paint area and make it easier for your so-called slashers and guards and wing players. I would definitely see
the name.
Go ahead.
The name I was thinking was Ersan Ilyasova, but I think he may be washed. But it may be a player in that type.
He'll be on a championship team before he's with us. Yeah,
he's like 50 years old, man. He lied about his age when he came over to the U.S. Though.
He always do.
Yeah,
he's way older than what he says. He's 30. He says he's 33. He was born in 1987.
I think Sabonis' father was 67.
I would say Ilyasova is definitely not 33. But yeah. I mean, why wouldn't you take him? I mean, he's a free agent right now, Ilyasova. They said Bruno Caboclo. Wasn't he like pretty bad?
He's pretty bad. He's not that piece of
Raptors. I think he was drafted, right? Raptors, right? Something like that. Taj did hit a three today, but I definitely would love a shooting big.
I was thinking
three, but did you see those Bricks foul shots?
Yeah, I was thinking more of like a Chris Boucher kind of guy.
They're not getting rid. They are not. He is a part of their future. No,
and they're getting hot now, or they're turning it around.
We need that type of guy, though.
Yep.
And he was undrafted, I believe, right? He was
Yeah.
undrafted.
Yeah, he bounced around. Yeah.
That's good. And but see, that's the issue that I might have with the front office. I wonder how. I really don't want. I want our front office to be like the Raptors, where we're looking in every pocket possible to find value. But that also means that you have
Right.
a legit philosophy. I don't want it where we're just looking for, we're giving preferential treatment to UKA guys like retreads and all that stuff. I want us to go out and look for get a Chris Boucher, a second round, no, a undrafted guy, second rounders, and hit big.
Right.
All these guys are solid. I mean, I don't want. Oh yeah, you're from UK, right? Oh, you're CAA. Oh, I like that, man. Hey, come over. Come play with us. It's like, who's that benefit? It's garbage.
Hey, Freezy, on the point that you made about the guard position, you heard me make the data point the last game that now we're 9-2 when Peyton has 5 baskets.
Oh Lord,
that he had 3 today.
Right.
So he didn't hit the 5, but how many did we see him missing the paint? It drove you crazy today because he went back to the old Peyton, but not having our second best player only score 3 points. And we're 6 points.
Right.
We lost the game by 6. So if he hit that metric again in 5 baskets, you don't know. So it was that close. Hey,
Man, I need RJ Barrett to shoot, man. I need RJ Barrett.
I didn't know if he had the flu or he hit the wall. Fellas, what you think about RJ today?
He just wasn't into it. I think one thing that the Heat did effectively, that trap. The trap zone play. Again, I love defenses, and I saw him do this in the playoffs. Just didn't work. It didn't work against the Lakers because the Lakers were the Lakers. But the Heat just give you a different dimension on defense. And they actually took a page of what the Lakers were doing last year. So RJ, even quickly,
not only last year, but what the big 3 in Miami did to Lynn, Jeremy Lin.
Exactly.
Exactly what I was thinking. What's funny? People forget it wasn't necessarily. It was Norris Cole who ate Jeremy Lin's food. The rest of those guys, I remember that game. They stepped back and just watched and like, yeah, go get Jeremy. Get Lin Sanity. That's cute.
They wanted to pull a Tony Kukoc, John. Let's shut this boy down.
Norris Cole ate his lunch, but it was beautiful to watch.
I was gonna say Randall and Barrett are 1 and 2 in minutes played this year in the NBA. So
yeah,
they might just hit a wall.
Yeah, because he didn't play the fourth quarter, and I said earlier, I think it was the second quarter, Guillermo, or the third. The camera shot was he sat down on the bench.
Mm-hmm.
And he looked like a fighter, like in the 11th round, like he looked beat, like coach, give me some smelling salts or something. Mm-hmm. And he didn't return after that, so I didn't know, maybe the kid had a flu or, like we just said, he hit the wall. But wow, for him not, he did not play. He played 7 minutes in the third quarter and nothing in the fourth.
Yeah, he was out of it. And that's the thing with Tibbs in that fourth quarter in close games. He likes the guys who are going to give him the best chance for that game. There's some guys that you see they're just hot, whether it be a defensive assignments, whatever it may be. And RJ Barrett again today was not in it. And you want him to be, because again, this Heat team, we couldn't get stops on defense, and especially in the first half, it was literally back and forth. And we couldn't play make. Even with Quickly, you saw Quickly getting trapped, and he was leaving his feet to make just these awful passes. Like, this is not college. So RJ Barrett attacked in the first half too with that, and RJ Barrett just couldn't create, couldn't really.
He had no turnovers quick, which was amazing. But Clyde was adorable. On his cross court pass was like, whoa! That's how many times did he say that pass was the pass was successful, but you should not be making that pass.
But and he's going to learn from that. One thing, and I wish, Clyde's not a coach, but one thing as a point guard, and coach, you could test to this if I'm wrong. When you see a team trying to set you those aggressive double team traps on the sidelines, you try to keep it center. You call a zone breaker or somebody at least near that foul line to break it. And sometimes they did, but many times they didn't. Like when Randall, luckily he drove baseline and kicked it out to Bullock for the 3 in the second half, when Bullock finally made a 3 in the second half after going so high in the first half. Go look at that play again. There were 3 guys draped on the perimeter, and Julius Randle was like caught. Luckily, he was able to drive baseline, but there was no guy at the foul line to break the double team that was coming to Randle. Yeah, like no guys coming to help. So this team, I think Tom Thibodeau, what he's doing, like I say, he's giving these guys a fishing rod, but he's not teaching them how to fish per se. Like, he's not like getting the fish for them. He's saying, all right, here's these concepts, blah, blah, blah. You're going to see these looks. What are you going to do in the court? and that builds a better mental acuity, a better mental thinking, or a processing with the plays versus Tom Thibodeau calling a play out and it's like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to run this play. You know what I mean? So you see it today. It's astonishing how many times they ran a trap and there wasn't anybody at the foul line to kind of break that defense.
Yeah, because I think it was last game they threw it in. I forgot who, and then they broke the zone, got it to the center of the court, and I think they hit Obi coming in for last game, like for a jam or something on the baseline. He came in. Hey, here's a question that I thought you'd like. OG Gregory Castillo said Sharif Cooper is moving up the mock drafts lately. I'm not a fan of little guards. He is tiny, folks. I mean, tiny.
6'1".
Yeah, on his tippy toes, but just he's tiny. I know he has some skills, but it's funny. Today they mentioned, a lot of people you look at on TV and you see Peyton play, but you don't realize, or some people don't think about it, that he is a big linebacker in the NFL. He's 6'4", he's like a defensive end, and then they mentioned today that his father was a legend in the Canadian Football League. Peyton is a big dude. That's why his physicality, why Tibbs loves him, that he could that physical, he's a big guy. So when you said Sharif Cooper, I'm like, I'm not a big fan. What do you guys think? I don't know if you've seen any of his game. He's getting a lot of hype, but I'm not a tiny guard fan.
Yeah, he's not a good shooter. He's a decent facilitator. I saw the last live game I saw of him was the UK one where they beat Kentucky. I believe that's Sharif Cooper's first game for the season. I think that was when he returned. Watch some highlights. Again, I'm not the biggest fan of him, not the greatest of shooters. And the tiny guard thing, I agree with you to an extent, man. Unless you're like a superlative guard who can, a Trae Youngish type guard. I kind of tend to stay away from, but I mean, we'll see. But yeah, I'm not sure.
Because there's some other kids that are like Deshaun Knicks. He's at least 6'5". He's not. He's not. Doesn't have an explosive first step, but he has very good vision. Good pass.
I hate Nick G for this because he said no to Deshaun, and I was watching more of him, and now I'm pulling away a little bit from where I thought Deshaun Knicks could go.
I think he's going to be late first round, early second. What do you think?
He's playing G League, so yeah, it might be. And I think he's probably out of all the big names, he might fall down a little bit. It's weird. It's weird. I think that for wings and like guys like the Kumingas and Greens, the G League instead of college might be fine for them, especially if they're a little bit ahead of skill. But for a point guard,
he should have went to UCLA.
That tournament when you're not a just a standout ridiculous, like you're not a John Morant. I think that sometimes a tournament. The season and then getting into the tournament, I think that could do wonders for your game.
I was going to say, well, even then, to speak to that, like John Morant doesn't show out without that tournament.
Yeah. Even though they lost the first game, though, right?
But like his like lead up into March.
Yeah, he was.
It's what got him on the national stage, more or less. And same thing with Dwayne Wade too. Like D-Wade, it was D-Wade's tournament that put him into where he was.
Marquette.
He was putting up triple doubles. Draymond Green too. It's like that tournament
Michigan
is
State.
That tournament is crazy important for players. So yeah, I agree with you.
You guys are stupid. Someone said Chris B said Payton is a 6'4" Michael Ruffin.
God.
That's a blast from the past, eh?
Wow, man, you guys are harsh, man. But yeah, it's just tough with these smaller guards, man.
Yeah, we have Jared Harper. Why do we need him?
We already got enough small guards on the team, yeah.
Right. Anybody else in the draft that's like risen on your boards or you?
A couple, but not from the Knicks. The kid from Duke, Johnson, the power forward.
Jalen Johnson.
Yeah. But we have no need for him.
Yeah, he can't shoot, man.
Yeah.
Hey, what about Greg Brown
from Texas?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's the same deal.
Yeah.
Can't shoot.
And you have Kai on the same team on Texas. I forgot his last name. Because I thought maybe he's a big body, that maybe he's going to be a big, a power forward center coming into the league. So, we're not seeing.
There's a bunch of these little like wing hybrids that we can't use.
Yeah,
They can't shoot.
yeah. And the kid from Connecticut,
Bo Knight?
Bognut,
Is that how you
that
pronounce it? Bonite?
the
I
one
think so.
thing
I don't
is
know. I
that
just guess
the
it.
one statistic that bothers me in college, I like when, in college, unlike the NBA, sometimes you have the guys that are men among boys in college, and then they get to the NBA and it's a whole new gig. But you want to see somebody dominate in college.
Hmm.
And they've lost 12, maybe 12 straight games on the road with him playing against ranked teams. So I want to see. I know it's more. He's just one player on a team, but I want to see him use his dominance where you don't lose 12 straight games against ranked teams. That he's that good that he could take a team on his back. In college, I want to. I think that's where if you can't dominate in college, you're not going to dominate in the NBA.
He's also a volume guy. Like he's a
Yep.
volume shooter. And he projects more to be like a combo guard than an actual legit guard. He only has 1.7 assists this year.
Do you remember where Kuminga and Green were gonna commit? I don't know if Kuminga ever committed or was talked about.
Oh,
No, I knew. I said before that Deshaun committed to UCLA, but I don't know where Kaminga would have went.
so Kuminga had offers from Texas Tech, Auburn, Kentucky, and Duke. Jalen Green. Jalen Green had he was considering Memphis, Auburn, and those are the only two they mentioned. So yeah, I'm not.
I'm surprised you didn't have anywhere you wanted to go.
Yeah, I mean, and they say yeah, our commit was no, they said yeah, Auburn, Florida State, Memphis, Oregon were the ones, and then there's no real.
Robert Arojo said that Kaminga was headed to Texas Tech.
Texas Tech, yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know. That would have been a curse because everyone, Culver and a few others that have gone to Texas Tech. The kid Ramsey this year that went to the Kings and stuff.
James.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of the G League move though. That's why I'm asking. I don't like it. I think it hurts their development more than anything.
In what way?
Well, it's like all right, Amani Bates just committed to Michigan State. Like that's the best move for him because now Tom Izzo is going to be his coach, and that'll be infinitely more useful to him than some random G League dude who's looking for a job. And I don't know, like for me, for Kuminga and Green, it's like, is the competition really that much better in semi-pro basketball than it is with the organization and intensity of college hoops? Like the very few interactions I've had with G League players and coaches is it's usually players who, so unless there were top recruits who got injured, it's usually a bunch of guys who really don't have a shot at making the league. And that's not useful. More like it's not any more useful than it is playing against a bunch of college players who have no chance of getting to the league. And then same thing with the coaches. Sometimes in G League franchises, you get like a coaching tree. So you get like people from that organization, the parent one, who go down to the G League and, like we do with Allen Houston. Sometimes you get that, but other times it's the same deal for the coaches there. It's like journeyman like Mike Miller,
Exactly. I was going to bring that up.
It's just those kind of guys who are looking for a job, who are looking for a chance to get to the Knicks, and he used that to get a job at OKC. Like that's all that they do. I don't know if that's any more beneficial to a young kid's development than it is, having Tom Izzo be your coach or something like that. I don't know. I mean, he gets paid, which is nice, but
it's partially true. So I love this basketball show on YouTube or channel. It's called Stunted Growth. I love watching the videos, and one thing I learned from is that it's not necessarily that. And again, I'm typically a fan of college development, but not every school truly develops players. Like as a college player, you got to go to the right school. And
sure.
one thing the guy Stunted Growth makes a note of is that there's certain places where you need to be featured, and that's your development. And there's certain places where you do need to be in a so-called system, and sometimes there's a mismatch between certain players. Right? There's certain players that need 2 or 3 years to develop, but they'll go to Kentucky. And there's certain players who, and sometimes they'll mess up the draft stock. Now they're, instead of going first round, they go to a team, blah, blah, and stuff like that. So it depends. Like Tom Izzo is probably going to develop Amani Bates. He's probably going to develop his defense and develop his finest skills, right? It's tough because a guy like Jalen Green and Kuminga, you said Texas Tech. I'm not too sure about Texas Tech's coach and how they play.
Sure, but like what? So what's the difference between going to Tom Izzo, learning all these things? Like what advantage does going to the G League offer you? That some coach is gonna let you play 35 minutes a game? Like I don't see that. I don't see that being beneficial to any player.
Well,
I think it's just the money.
It could just be the money, but and I'm not saying Kuminga or Green yet, but some people's games can be a little bit more developed, and where they don't necessarily. I don't say they necessarily don't need college, but I got
So what incentive? I guess I'm asking. What incentive does a G League coach have to develop Jalen Green? Like, what's in it for him? Versus what if you went to Michigan State and Tom Izzo was his coach? Like, there's a different incentive for Tom Izzo to develop someone because he wants to win basketball games.
Right, that G League coach may also want to win so he can move up.
But it doesn't even necessarily correlate though.
How does it? I mean, look at a guy like Jerry Stackhouse. He's on the front burner to be front line to be probably one of the next coaches to move up because
he's a system guy. Like I said, like some
G League also a G League coach.
Yeah, I'm saying some G League teams work with their parent organization, but I'm saying that's not consistent throughout.
Yeah, but I mean, you might find one where they do that, and he, they that guy, that coach, whatever, may say, hey, I got a Jalen Green. They may say, hey, look, I got a Deshaun Knicks, and he was a guy that forget Jalen Green commit. I got Deshaun Knicks, who was I got it. I got people to look at his stock a lot more different because he balled down the G League. We won the so-called G League champ, whatever it is, or we went up high, whatever. I deserve a job or whatever. Let me be the next guy to coach the next crappy team. And let me be the next Atkinson like he was for the Brooklyn Nets. That type of situation, right? So it honestly, it all depends. I don't disagree with. Honestly, guys, I swear on my life, I actually agree with you with the point guard thing. That some point guards should go to the college get that development, go to the tournament. But certain players, I mean, it's tough. It's tough. I think it's just certain players. But again, the money thing is one thing.
The money thing is for sure a thing that, yeah.
You want to hear something adorable? Greg Castillo said the benefit is you don't have to go to English class or history, just basketball. They don't extra. They don't go to history class. They don't do that in college anyway. I think Freezy was talking about Greg Oden taking basket weaving or something like that.
They don't go to class anyways. They get private tutors.
Exactly. Kinesiology. What was the thing that?
Yeah.
Nobody has a kinesiology degree, but those basketball players, they're a bunch of those guys with that so-called degree.
They literally just get private tutors who travel with them and do all their stuff for them.
Yeah,
they go to class if they want to.
You can see G League coaches. What's your claim to fame? I developed Langston Galloway's game.
Well, but here's like the other thing, right? Like so, like the teammates, the teammates on his G League team are only playing to get a chance at the NBA.
Right.
So they don't care about Jalen Green's development.
Oh, exactly. They don't. They're looking at their development. It's not. Yeah,
they could literally care less about Jalen Green.
Yeah,
they could care less about because like winning games develops players. It's about like the day to day of are you taking your film and your coaching to practice, then to games, then to bigger games, and so on and so forth.
And that validates your point about staying in college.
And so it's like, well, no one cares. The G League guys, I'm telling you this from I know a few people who've tried this route. It's a dog-eat-dog mentality in the G League. They don't care about Jalen Green. They only care about getting their chance to get into the NBA.
But also a guy like Jalen Green, some people forget he's a dog himself.
I'm not saying he's not a dog.
But he's a dog among himself, not among others.
It puts a hamper on what you can do, though.
The route fits for certain players. I don't disagree with you, but I just feel like we can't, project it over anybody who goes that route because I think there's certain dogs where it's like I want to play amongst men. I don't need college. All that cute, the champion. I don't give a damn about in that glory. Give me my money and let me kill these dogs who think they could get back into the NBA. I'll kill them and I'll show you I'm ready to get drafted number 1, number 2, whatever it may be. So
I think I see that. I just think it's more similar to the players who've gone international first. and then they just get thrown into the ringer and they don't produce the way we thought they would, or they end up homesick, or they're like, oh my God, I'm taking 12-hour bus rides across Europe. And then they come back all beat up and they're never the same. I think going to the G League is more similar to that than it is going to a top program.
And there are guys though, like, and salute to Stunning Growth for pointing this out. There are guys who go the college route. They go to the wrong college,
That's on
and
them.
their draft stock falls to where now they're, instead of being a guaranteed in the first, they're going unguaranteed in the second. And that team in the second may not look at them as okay. They may not have that how can I put it? The burden. I would say burden, but the responsibility to give this kid 2 or 3 years. They see the talent. And then treat it. They may be like, I got him for a second. All right, whatever. You know what I mean? So again, that may be the issue where it's like, look, I don't want to go to a college system where and there are many college systems where you think, oh, it's for my development, but they have some other recruit, or for some reason the coach just doesn't get along with the player, and that player's put on the back burner, and now they're going into the second round, or they're staying there a second year and things fall apart. They're transferring, which happens to many college kids. And their draft stock when high school, they're one of the top players in high school, and then all of a sudden they fall nowhere, and their confidence fall, and their game starts to fall apart. And now, they're working their way in Europe, trying to get to the NBA. So,
okay, well, I think it's good to talk about, because I can speak a little bit about this, like the kids I've sent off, right? It's like they get the pitch from a Big East school. There's a little much I can do at that point, right? Because it's like, oh my God, I'm going to St. John's, go to Georgetown, I'm gonna go wherever, go to UConn, and the little conversation I get with the scout and their parents is like, well, personally, I don't want you to sit at the Villanova bench. I just don't want you to. I want you to go and feature at a smaller school. Like you guys will probably be able to figure his name out, but if you do the research, there's a kid I coach that's sitting on the Villanova bench. He's never going to play for them ever. He got redshirted. He had another offer from Wichita State. He could have featured at Wichita State.
You should have went to Van Vliet route.
And that ruined his basketball life. He will never get off the Villanova bench. And I wanted him to be a 4-year, 3-year starter at Wichita State. And so it's like there's that conversation, right? But then there's also that big, like you said,
that's deep, man. That's
kids,
really deep.
Because it totally affects that.
Yeah.
Like that's it. I'll never know. He'll never know how good he could have been, because he's not going to get the requisite playing time at a program. He's just been sitting for 3 years. Like this past draft, like Patrick Williams went to Florida State, he came off the bench and he was a top 4 pick and looks like a good player. And so when he was getting scouted a lot, I remember his interview, it was like, well, they asked him like, why'd you come off the bench? He was like, well, that was the system. We played defense first. It was Devin Vassell, and we locked teams down. And I came in and I shot my threes and I grabbed my rebounds and I went back on the bench. Yep. And and then we know like how good he could have been. I think that's more indicative of the bigger NCAA problem, the bigger problem with boosters, the bigger problem with the sort of geographical and regional pipelines we got from players coming from high school going to the next collegiate level. Like it gets to become a really complicated discussion. That being said, I don't think the G League is the alternative, because I think it's just more of the same nonsense. It's like it's
a meat market.
It's just another meat market. And in a perfect world, I have the kids who think twice about where they could go and say, maybe I'll go to Wichita State, get 20 minutes a game, as opposed to never playing in the Big East. But I can say I'm a Big East basketball player. So I don't know, like that's why I'm so iffy about Green and Kuminga. And that's what is making me mum on this entire 2021 draft class. 2 of the top 5 picks are going to have incredibly volatile development for the next. Well, God, they haven't played yet. Like they're going to have incredibly volatile development for whichever team drafts them. Like I can't think of a higher risk, higher reward pick than either one of Kuminga or Green right now.
Wow, wow, that really is thought provoking what you just said.
I think I don't know. I think, especially just watching Kuminga and Green, this sounds crazy. Obviously, with the Knicks fans, so I sound biased. But a kid like Green and a kid like Kuminga, given the way Tom Thibodeau is coached, quickly, and even Obi, I could see those guys, the way that he's old school, the way that he's a disciplinarian, the way that, and not in like I'm gonna scream in your face. I'm not talking about PJ Carlesimo or freaking George Karl, but in a way that you sit when you do good. I'm sorry, you sit when you do something that I told you not to do, but you play and you can expand your game from there. I think that those guys could benefit from a Tom Thibodeau where their so-called development, it may be I won't say choppy, but when they learn some of the new, again, trapping defenders on the hip, playing proper defense, knowing defensive positioning, defensive awareness, knowing where your man is at all times, be able to help out when a guy drives to the basket. I think that, and given the fact that they can do things already that Tom Thibodeau needs in the offense, right? Slashing, be able to shoot. Okay, even though I don't think that Kuminga shooting leaves a little bit to be desired. I think that those guys could do well with a guy like Tom Thibodeau.
Yeah, the thing that scares me is that I'm like you, Guillermo. I like watching a game footage. I don't like watching mixed footage.
Right.
But we're at the mercy of the footage that's out there. And when you watch Jalen Green and you watch Kuminga, you get us old dogs, we get a little nervous because the first 3/4 of the thing is jam, dunk, 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 and I'm like, okay, I know the kid can dunk, but there's a lot more to the game. So it's like 3/4 dunks, and then they'll show him make a good pass, or they'll show him hit a couple of threes and stuff like that, and you're like, wow, this is it's a real small sample on the other skill sets that are needed in the NBA. So I know the kid had hops, or Kuminga's a 6'8", he has a man's body already at a young age like a RJ. But those other parts of the skill set that's needed for them to be an effective NBA player, are they nurturing that, or they're just, like we were saying before, they're in situations where they are men among boys, so they have all these highlight things, and then they get to the NBA and it's like, I can dunk, and did I say I can dunk yet?
Right. I that's definitely, a fair mind with most of these players are not, again, going to college. But the thing about it with some of these guys, it's, you need to be able to buy. I mean, look at a guy like Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine was a dunker.
UCLA, yeah.
He was a dunker. He was nothing but a dunker. And Tom Thibodeau was refining his game. I mean, look at the things they were doing with the Timberwolves. The guy was playing point, right? So here's the big thing. We have all these fears, but do these kids want to buy in? Now, obviously, a guy like Green coming, they may not want to, or they may want to. If they buy into a guy like Tom Thibodeau, they can be the next Zach LaVine and probably even higher. Zach LaVine is already a really good player. So it's all about them buying into it, right? And that's where you do the homework on family life and character and all that stuff. And we don't, obviously, I'm not privy to it. So that'll be up to the coaching staffs. But, I still think they have talent that I think Tom Thibodeau would love to exploit while at the same time developing some of their weaknesses. So, go ahead. And one more thing, the college game. The college games in itself creates a lot of immature characters. So I understand where you guys are coming from or alluding to somewhat with, they come in to have these things to work on. Many guys coming from college have a lot of things they need to work on because some of the systems are in that just feature them. A lot of these guys don't develop to where it's like, all right, I'm not the man on campus anymore. Or, the offense have to send around me. We literally just traded a guy like that in DSJ. Who thought he was a man? He was a man at NC State, a team that didn't even. I don't think they even cracked 500 that year. Last year he was there, and then he was with the the Mavericks. Had a 29% usage first year. Luka comes and he refuses to be the second man on campus. So,
well, I guess I'll clear up my stance on it because I agree with you. I don't think I'm not defending colleges like that because I think there's a whole nother issue there.
No, I don't.
My big thing is that I just don't think the G League is a finishing school in any way, shape, or form.
It's like a selfie.
It's just not. It's just like, all right, they're gonna play Jalen Green. Was he gonna play 10 games or something like that? Like the G League season, like 10 or 15 games.
Yeah.
He's gonna play 10 games against a bunch of journeymen. Like he's actually gonna play against plumbers. Like we joke about it, but he's actually gonna play against plumbers. And he's gonna play against a bunch of 25-year-old plus grown men with families who only want to play for their shot, coaches and staff who only want a chance at their shot, and he's going to play every single minute of every single 10 games, and then he's going to have to come to the NBA and they're going to be like, you can't do that anymore. Now you're back at the bottom of the ladder, and now you have X, Y, and Z responsibilities to do as a player,
Mhm.
and all these other things. And my whole thing, I guess, is like my overarching take on this is players, pro prospects need to be handled with the most kid friendly of gloves. Like every single thing matters for them, from who the adults they interact with. Remember, they're still kids. The adults they interact with, the systems set in place as like we want them to become men, and the actual environment they're in, so that when they get to the NBA, that transition is as smooth as possible, and they're put in the best possible position to be successful basketball players. I don't see the G League doing that at all,
Yeah.
and I just like
But you know what? I don't know if they do that so much in college because I was just talking to
that's the thing, right? It's
friend of mine, where I was saying, you know what? I wish some counselor, somebody would counsel Boston and say, you know what, kid,
Mm.
this is $1 million thing. If you go now, you'll be a 15 draft pick. If you stay
yeah.
another year in school and refine your game and come back, you could be a top 5. I think you should go back to school for a year. Don't come out this year.
But then,
You
all right, so I'll play devil's advocate to my own point. Because I see both sides of it. Why would you turn down money like that?
I agree, but
Hey,
it's short term money versus long term money.
You take
quickly is one play, but hold up. Quickly is a different example, just because he wasn't a Booker or a AD. A lot of guys who go back to UK for that second year, they don't come back alive as these top. I said come back alive. Come into the next year as these top number 5. And I agree with you in theory. What you're saying works. UK is not the school for UK.
Yeah.
Boston may have to transfer because they're looking at this class they just brought in and the way they've underachieved. Guys like Jack, Isaiah Jackson, what his name is, BJ
Yeah,
Boston.
Isaiah Jackson, the power forward. I mentioned him earlier as maybe the next thing will go with the connection to be a Mitch replacement of the future.
Oh, all right, well, we could
He's
talk about that.
raw, man. He's raw.
We could talk about that too. But again, UK is not the school for doing that, and because Terrence Clark was the guard I was thinking of. That is not the team. That again, you may want to get away from this team because they may rip it up. Like they may look at this classic coming and be like, all right, we got our recruiting that we did last year. We got to refine that. We got to fix that up because what we brought in this year, they're not complementary to each other. They don't have shooting on the team. It just doesn't fit. So BJ Boston might be, he may have to just leave just to get away from that situation.
Yeah, because like you said, other schools like FSU, they got Scotty Barnes now, but you saw what they did with Vassell, and then you saw what they did with Williams. So it looks like Barnes, he's still going to be a raw kid, but has enough things that was taught by Hamilton and stuff like that they're going to be able to build on at the next level.
How are you going to forget my man Tony Douglas, the greatest
Tony,
FSU alum to ever play
and
for
his brother,
Knicks?
the wide receiver.
Holy Douglas, holy crap.
Yeah. Hey, let me do a quick shout out to the family. Mike Johnson, how are you? Keyshawn, hope all is well. Keyshawn thinks that the G League gets you more ready, NBA ready than college. Okay, that's what makes the world go around. Different thoughts.
I disagree, but whatever.
No,
Yeah,
but
I
ask him to explain. Ask him to explain.
Yeah. Explain it in the chat. Explain it in the chat. We're all following it.
Yeah, we're following. Yeah, explain yourself why you think that. A nudie 25. D
Hey,
block.
so how do you think Tony Douglas? Oh, okay. Go ahead.
No, won't you take it? Nobody does it better than you. They love your shout
man,
outs.
I can't see the chat.
Okay, that's fine.
So I can't see the chat. But how do y'all forget about the greatest Florida State alum ever, Bobby Sura?
Oh my! I liked Bobby Sura.
Nobody
dude.
remember Bob Sura?
I like Bobby Sura.
I remember Bobby Sura in the Cavaliers, bro.
I like
what
Bobby
about
Sura.
what about Sam Cassell? Anybody
That
remember
was
Sam Cassell?
FSU too. Wow.
The Timberwolves.
Yeah, and the greatest Knick point guard of all time, Charlie Ward.
Right. I was gonna say every FSU guy's a defender.
Yeah, they're dogs, man.
They're all defenders. Yeah.
What the hell?
They all play D. Yeah. Forgot about that.
Sure.
Yeah, let me just finish up here. We have 110 people, about 20 minutes of 71 likes. So please get those likes up. Hey, Eric Gonzalez, how are you, man? Hope all is well. I'll put out the link in a second for you. So please hit those like, subscribe, and remind the bell so you don't miss out on any Knicks at Night and Knicks Morning Drive broadcasts. And please share the link on your favorite social media platform so we can grow the Lawrence Tears family. We've blown past 1,300, 1,500 here we come. We greatly appreciate it. As always, a shout out to the best mods on the planet, Sima Singh, Bodega Wi-Fi, the new Knicks. We appreciate all you do. So Mark Calhoun. So I'm looking. He didn't. Jonathan Isaac, one of the people that we missed. FSU.
Oh, right.
I hope that kid comes back from that knee injury.
Yes.
Yeah, because he's a nice player, man. Nice player. So Brooklyn Belly, Haddoken Sharon again. So yeah, so let's. We'll keep looking to see if.
Malik Beasley too.
Malik Beasley, exactly.
He don't play no defense anymore, but yeah, he did definitely.
He did at one point, yeah.
Yeah. Well, he does do a little. He ducks the bullets coming at him. So all right. Let me. So what else, guys? You want to talk about? Randall had a great game tonight. 26 points this afternoon. 26 points, 13 rebounds, 7 assists. Again, if Bullock hit some shots in the second half, you'd have a triple double today. So, folks, if you haven't voted for Randall for the All-Star game, please. I think it'd do a whole lot. I'm becoming a big fan of him. Like I said, Obi and all these other people talking, unsolicited, just saying he's a really cool dude behind the scenes. He's a good guy. He sits down, he watches film with the kids, he shows them, he shares with them. He's not an ogre. I know he had that spin move from hell, but he's a pretty cool. He looks like a good guy off the court, and on the court, he's a monster.
Before we talk about Randall, I was gonna say, Freezy, are you there? Oh, Freezy's not there.
Freezy.
No, Freezy. Well, Steven can vouch for this. This may be the longest Blarnge Tears podcast in which we have not talked about extensively about Kevin Knox.
Let me ask you. Let me ask you a question.
I'm here, man.
Okay,
I'm here.
it's the longest we've gone without talking about Kevin Knox, and it's been a much more calm, reserved show tonight.
Oh, it sounds so beautiful right now.
It's a terrible thing talking serious basketball.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
So, but we have a good time doing it. It's guys just hanging. That's what I love. I miss my Kevin W. I don't know where my Kevin W is tonight.
I think he's had a whole bunch of stuff going on, man. And he was just taking a break. That's all.
I know what that's like.
Oh yeah,
yeah, man. But so I wanted to run something by y'all and see what y'all thought. So,
Shoot.
do the Knicks value Frank Ntilikina?
Obviously not.
Well, I thought he was getting traded today.
Me too.
So maybe they do value him. So maybe they do value him.
Yeah.
So maybe they do value him.
And
the salaries match up with him and D Rose. It's like 1-for-1. You just do that trade.
Yeah. And so the thing is every time trade rumors get hot and heavy with the Knicks, Frank Ntilikina always survives. Have y'all?
Well, you know what, Freeze coach said this earlier, and I think he may be right that this is the dominoes. This is the first domino that dropped, getting D Rose. Frank may be the next chip that we use for the next trade. What do you guys think?
I respect my man's take, but I don't think it's that. I think it's because the clear. Okay, so the thing is, the clear thing was to send Frank away. Because we could have traded 2017 point guard for 2017 point guard, and nobody would have bat an eyelash except the Frankers, right? And then last year when we were trading away pieces, Frank's name was hot and heavy and everything, and he survived again. The dude is like the Great Gatsby. I'm telling you, I think the organization values him more than what we think.
Hey, Freezy.
And I know it's not a popular take.
Well, I was gonna say Gatsby got killed in the end.
He did get shot at the end.
Yeah, I know. I know, bro. Yeah.
So
Hey, but
I think,
it
don't you
sounded
think they
nice
would have
though.
played him if they had value? Obviously, he's coming back from injury for the umpteenth time and stuff like that. But some of the matchups we've had recently, don't you think they would have thrown him out there for his defensive expertise?
Would they have
He-
played him to showcase him in a trade?
Showcase him or just for need?
Either. I think they value him, but I don't know. I think Frank is a Knick for life now.
Do you? Because I was saying to
I think Frank is.
myself, because I was saying to myself, just looking at when we were going through some woes and stuff. Hey, let's see if Frank IQ backcourt. That'd be an interesting thing. You put, like Frank be at
Very,
the point
very.
and IQ at the off guard. I'm open to looking at different rotations and different. But that never happened. So I thought that may be an interesting setup. But what do you think, Freeze? Freezy, talk to me, please.
Freezy, man.
What happened to my Freezy?
Like, Freezy, where you at, man?
I keep hitting this mute
Oh.
button. I keep
Oh,
Yeah. So I don't. So I like that. I think I'm interested in that. My only deal though is how does that work now that you have a Derrick Rose?
it don't. It don't. That's the whole thing. So
Right.
I
Right.
think it'll just be next man up if somebody gets injured. Then he's in the
Well,
Kevin Knox syndrome right now. I'm on the bench and my only get out of jail card is an injury because otherwise I'm not
is
going to
it?
get on the court. He has a tight rotation now.
I think he's
Yeah.
gone. I think he's gone. We didn't pick up the what was it, the option or to resign him or
Exactly.
something like that.
So
I
he's
think
a
he's gone.
restricted free agent at the end of
Yeah,
the
I
year.
think he's gone. Because the
Yeah.
only two we didn't were him and DSJ. We picked up Knox's option, so I think Frank's out.
Right. Well, the
Just
thing with Frank is more complicated than what you think. The thing with Frank is they didn't agree to terms. Both they were negotiating and they just didn't agree to terms, so the Knicks chose not to pick up his option. I mean, or they couldn't agree on a contract. It's the same thing with Lonzo Ball in New Orleans. They just didn't agree to a contract. So, I mean, I don't think that means it's the end of the road for Frank. I just means that the Knicks value him at maybe 3 years, 10 million, and Frank thinks he's 4 years, 40 million. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like Dotson's contract. You left here and let's see, you had to sign the $2.5 million a year contract because that was all what the market said your value was. So yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I think that's
He,
what's going on with Frank.
yeah, but I think the big thing
I think it's
is
going to be the
the
same thing with
organization
Mitch.
thinks like you said, thinks that maybe he could be a Bruce Bowen, and Frank thinks he's a point guard, and they're saying no. In your best days, you only get 3 assists. You're not your handles, everything. You're not a point guard, son. But you do have value as a specialty player. A defensive specialist or something. So I didn't know whether it was those dynamics going on behind the scene where Frank's looking at his future, saying, "No, I know what I want to be, and that's a point guard, and the Knicks are not giving me that opportunity." Guys, what do you think of that take?
I don't disagree. I just feel like Frank he's just not in the plans of
Yeah,
the Knicks. Like it's just he's one more year here. Every time he has opportunity, he gets hurt. He
yeah.
hasn't. He doesn't have.
Groin, ankle, groin,
Yeah,
knee. Yeah,
and to have. I think again, Tom Thibodeau is not just that he wants to discipline players. That's why he doesn't play him. It's like he wants his team to be shaped by his chosen group of players, right? Now, granted, people say, well, Rivers is playing, Rivers has a resume. They brought him as a free agent. He's a role player that was expected to do certain things to a T. But a guy like Frank, again, is just at this point, it's almost like, why? I know people say, oh, he can help us win and all that stuff. But, Frank was so ill-developed that it's like everything we say regarding him helping us to win is almost theoretical to a point. Like we've seen a few shots here and there that he's made, but he was never really a plus defender. I was like, as much as I give him credit for his defense his rookie year, if you look at his defensive a corner synergy, if you look at his defensive numbers, second year, he obviously got hurt in his third year. They're not that good. Sorry, not saying not that good. They're just not as good as people make him out to be. So again, when we look at Frank, as an off guard, maybe he helps out. But at this point, it's like I'd rather give that playing time to I'd rather keep that playing time to somebody like Quickly. Let him have his development versus forcing Frank here when he's gone next year anyway. He's just not in the plans, unfortunately.
Yeah, I just don't think he's in the plans. And I've said my piece about Frank many times. I've said it enough.
Oh,
He got a raw deal, but it's not entirely the Knicks' fault. There's a bunch of stuff going his way. I just don't think he's in the plans.
Yeah, I agree with you. So, and Bullock again. I thought Kevin would be here. So he had the 6 and the 3s in the first, and 7 for the game. But God, that guy, he's aggravating. So
I mean, not the thing with Knox. Hey, this is what I say about Knox, man. There's only so much you can give regarding excuses for players, man. Again, when you talk about that G League, Coach Color Blocks, I bet you in that G League, there's a bunch of young, hungry demons who would kill to take Kevin Knox's spot. And I'm not even talking about scoring. I'm talking about doing the little things to say, hey, coach, I couldn't get my shot off tonight, but I got 6 rebounds. I got 2 steals. I was hounding their second best offensive player. I was running. I was setting screens. I was doing all this stuff. Coach, give me more minutes. I can show improve. And Kevin Knox, everything with Kevin Knox is, if we gave him the time, we gave him this. If we gave him, again, if you're a player like that who's not profound, like coming out, he's not prolific. You're most likely not going to get those many. And there are a bunch of Josh Jackson. He's on the Pistons now.
He hit a big shot yesterday to put it into overtime.
And it took him getting to another team and I think he also got hurt too a little bit, to refine that part of his game. He wasn't a good shooter with the Suns. Same thing that happened with he went to Houston. He used to be on the Kings. Ben McLemore, right? These guys who just because
he went to Kansas, Ben McLemore. That's cool.
But he went to Houston. He's on the Houston Rockets.
Okay.
Rockets last year. I think he should still be there. But he got drafted by the Kings. So again, the thing with Kevin Knox is, again, his desire for the game. We can sit here and talk about he's shooting threes, but honestly, he shoots all his threes from the corner. So it's not as if this guy is just bomb. It's not like if it's Buddy Hield and he's bombing threes and can't do anything else but bomb threes all over the court. Kevin Knox literally gets the ball in the corner, and that's his best position. If he's not getting the ball in the corner, if the offense doesn't flow to him there, what else is he doing? That's what I'm saying. Just be fair with him. What else is he doing on the court that justifies him being there?
Hey, Guillermo, there's this weird movie called Best of Show. It's like a Mel Brooks type of movie where it's a goof movie about people. I don't know if you ever heard about it, that at a dog show. And there's one scene where the guy's announcing, the guy's running around the ring, and he goes, "Am I seeing things? But that guy has 2 left feet," and it's a joke. And you look at it, he actually has 2 left feet. Every time I see Kevin Knox, I think of that movie when he puts the ball on the floor. Like, I got to look at his sneakers. Does that dude have 2 left feet, 2 left shoes on?
And salute to El Marshall. I'm going to call out the super chat for you guys.
Please, thank you.
$5 super chat. Salute to El Marshall, man. That's a great supporter, man. Teams only extend star players during the 4th year. Other players, they let hit the market. They let market decide what they are before they think to resign the player. Yeah. That's true, and the guy like Frank, he's not. I don't know who the market's going to give him that money. Same with Kevin Knox. It may have to be Kevin Knox has to be teamless. I don't want to say teamless, but he has to be thrown out to say, hey, you got to decide what you want in your career. Because again, people say, oh, Frank gets to the Spurs, he gets to the Mavericks. Be honest, I don't know. That's coming from.
Doesn't that drive you crazy? Well, the Spurs had another. The Spurs had another French guy, and you saw what they did with him. It's like, come on, what does that mean?
I don't like that when people say, "Oh, if he ended up on this team." Well, no, that's just not true at all. That's not how that works. That's just not how that works.
Hey, guys, I'll say this. I used to think that, look, if he went to, I thought that he would have that same fit, right? So I'm not going to sit here and act like I wasn't part of that crowd saying if he went to the Spurs, if he went to the Mavericks, but you just look at some of these guys' games, and again, if you look at even the Spurs now, they've been with guys like DeJounte Murray, who I believe he just came back from injury, Devin Vassell. They move on. They have other talents that they're trying to develop. Just bringing in
Keldon Johnson.
Yeah. So it's not as if they're going to say, hey, Frank, welcome Frank. He's going to get 25 minutes over you guys. It's just, it may not happen. So for all the Frankers out there, I'm not saying I wasn't in that crowd of saying if he went to a different team, but you look at it now and it's like, I don't know. You look at a guy like him, he literally Frank gets hurt every time he has, and that might be a physiological thing, where once the pressure of I'm ready, it's like sometimes your body breaks down. I know it sounds crazy, but look at every time CP3 had an important game or an important moment, he always had a weird hamstring issue. Something weird physically happens with CP3.
Every time he was in Western Conference Finals, something always went down.
Something like he sabotaged his efforts for success.
It's weird. It is the weird. It's almost like his body was like, I don't want the fear of having to,
fail. So if
because look, CP3 is one of my favorite point guards of all time.
Me too.
And it's like people, if he doesn't win a ring, people will be like, huh.
It's like Dave Winfield. Great during the season, and then in the playoffs, you're like, come on, man.
Right. And sometimes you look at those, and then unfortunately, history looks back. The new kids, the new generations will look back and say, well, he didn't win a championship. And it's like, I know what I was watching when I watched CP3. It was like, damn, every time he's close to winning a championship, something weird happened with this guy. So with Frank, it could be the same issue. I don't know. That'll be for any of the sports doctors out there. That'd be something great to study anxiety and how your body might break down to purposely not put you in these high pressure moments.
Hey, Guillermo, that's a great point. Do you think the Knicks ever sent, and Coach Color Blocks, do you think the Knicks ever sent Knox to a sports psychologist?
I brought that up on your podcast a while ago. Remember, Gmo? I was like, Knox needs a sports psychologist more than anything.
Yeah.
I think you brought that up. And I think that was that the same episode Nick G was talking about codependency?
No, it was his was after. So. His was after.
Okay.
But it's the same idea. It's the same idea. That's such a
because the coaches do everything for his game, but we know that his game is from the neck up, and only Kevin could fix that, or a sports psychologist, somebody that can get into his confidence, that can reinforce it, because he's just so darn fragile.
The best example I could think of a player using a sports psychologist and recovering from it was T-Mac. Because after the knees kept getting hurt, and he was almost on his way out the league, he thought about retiring, and it was right around the time before he joined the Knicks. Remember that random year, like the tail end of his Houston career when he was just down and out. Like, I remember him saying, I went to a sports psychologist to just I was scared to just drive to the hoop. My knees were healthy, but I just was scared to drive to the hoop, and just the effect it had on him as a player and as a person is an important part of player makeup. It just really is, and we don't spend enough time talking about it.
But also in your realm, do you think that people, I never understood, to me he was a late round draft choice. If Calipari said that it's going to take 3 to 4 years, scratch him off. I don't care if he looked good against Miles Bridges in a workout or stuff like that.
Right.
If he's immature, I'm not going to use a high draft choice, a number 9, number 8 draft choice on this kid if he doesn't have that emotional toughness. And don't you think that has to be on their checkoff list? That especially here with the media, the fandom, this is a tough market, and if you don't have the right have an RJ type of attitude that it could roll off your back and come back the next day, this is the wrong place. You better go to a small market, son.
You want to hear something scary? And salute to El Marshall. He gave you guys a $2 super chat. Said Frank's a solid practice and bench player. That's it. It probably is. And Moises Guerrero and I think Brian Doobie also says psychosomatic. I definitely have to look at psychosomatic injuries regarding of Frank. And here's the scary thing about Knox. This regime was not – you were not drafted by this regime. They are not tied to you. Their success, they only benefit – they really – if you succeed, they look great. If you don't succeed, okay, that you weren't a part of them. So it's up to Knox. And people keep saying he's young. I don't know how to say this. The NBA doesn't give a damn about, you're young and
there's no room for high maintenance players, and they've bent over backwards bringing Kenny Payne and all these things. He's just too high maintenance at this level to baby somebody, because you're like, even if he breaks through, what's going to happen in 2 weeks? If is he going to have is he going to fall off the wagon and get fragile again? That are we going to always be on that situation with this? You can't have somebody on your team or somebody that you depend on like that.
Mhm.
That is today his good day, or is today going to be? It's okay, Kevin. You
Yeah,
know,
and Steve, how about this? People think about it this way: how inefficient would the Knicks offense be, so we could finally see what we have in Kevin Knox and Manny? Be worth it. Where you have to put so many resources on the court just to see Knox produce at a certain level. Now, granted, if we had a top point guard, right?
I feel like go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Real quick. If we had a top point guard, obviously that would help him out a lot, right? But again, at Kentucky, he was a main primary guy, and even there, he didn't look like a world beater. So people keep talking about a ceiling, but when have you ever truly seen this ceiling that just has to be unlocked by Kevin Knox?
I think so. Like moving the conversation a bit away from Knox and just in general this is why I'm so, my whole culture thing. NBA projects are so variable that it really comes down to how your team operates before you can really say that you can draft and harness and make a project work out. They take a while. Like I'm thinking of like Jermaine O'Neal or something like that.
boy.
They just take a while. I don't think Knox is that much of a project, but like that's my baseline for when I see Calipari saying, "Yo, he's 3 or 4 years away." I'm like, great. So he's I have to wait like Kawhi. I have to wait a long time. I have to wait.
But Kawhi was showing. Whoa.
Kawhi was already better as a baseline prospect.
Kawhi was showing you stuff early. I think his second year. What's the second year he started shooting around above 36?
Yeah. No, fine. Like I'm
And
thinking
also
like
on the defensive side of the ball too, to
Yeah.
show his worth.
like a Tony Parker, someone like that, a Gerald Green, like guys that like will take a while, a Gobert, guys that will take a while, a Baca, that will just like you can kind of see if everything pans out what they could possibly be, and then you kind of hope for the best. But every guy I listed were usually in franchises that had their stuff together, and so I don't think the Knicks are ready yet as a franchise to take on projects. Just not yet.
Yeah.
I think we need to be consistent for like 4 or 5 years, and then we can say, okay, now we have the tools and the culture and the staff and the X, Y, and Z to say we can be patient with the project who's going to take 3 to 4 years, versus like a more obvious project. Because I think RJ is still kind of a project, but at least he's still producing. Like he's still giving you his little 15, 16 points per game, so you can say, okay, he's earned the patience of the fan base.
And real quick,
And I love you, just real quick. I love Coach Colorblocks because he's always in my mind. Yesterday, or the other game, he scores 18 points, and I said, you know what? Coach Colorblocks said he's a layup away from averaging 20, and he blew a couple of layups in that game. Coach, you were right on target. Sorry, Guillermo.
No. I just want to say, even with those examples, Tony Parker was giving you 15.5 points his second year, 9.2 points his first year. So Tony Parker again. I'm not coming out, Coach Colorblocks knows. I'm just saying that Knox is so
Fight.
No, not at all.
Because I literally
But you see, Knox,
yeah.
don't you think he's a lumbering athlete? He has the size, he has length, but you see, I know they're different positions, but you see Tyler Hero today. How many times I said, boy, is he a fluid athlete?
Oh, he's real fluid.
Oh my God, he looked beautiful, man.
So the one thing that I see
like
with Knox,
like a gazelle.
the one, all right, I can explain this because I see this with Knox and I don't see it with Frank. Knox has got body stuff. He's got body issues. He's really got to work on his feet and all that stuff. But man, he's got skills already. Like I can see discernible NBA skills from the kid.
Okay, like what? Besides the corner threes, what else do you see from Knox? Discernible skill.
His shooting stroke in general.
Okay. But other than the shooting stroke, as Guillermo said.
Right.
From outside, from mid range, he's not. It has not. I'm not saying
he has no mid range game.
Right.
He doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't take any either. He's
skill?
good. No, his dribbling is not that good. He's good at reasonably taking the ball to the hole.
What?
Yeah.
No, he's right. Finishing is a whole different story. But
I'm not saying finishing at the back.
All right. All right. I thought that was
like he understands how to slash from a lane and corral the ball and take it to the hoop and look for contact. Like there's skills there,
Right.
but
But like you said, you watch Giannis and stuff like that. Somebody that has length like that, like in his second year, son, dunk it. No more layups. No more of these. I don't know what kind of floater off the backboard where you're aiming it. Dunk the damn ball at your size. Dunk it. If
Right.
you have that one step and you're in the lane like that, show your size, and he just won't do it. In fact, he took him out after blowing a lay or having a layup blown a few games ago. Tibbs. So, L.
I,
Marshall, thanks again for that super
I can
chat.
see where scouts fell in love with him.
You,
I can see it. I can totally see where scouts fell in love with him.
and those scouts do that every year. They
Yeah.
fall in love
And-
with.
But it's like a young horse, a young pony that comes out,
No, I agree.
and they look awkward, and you're like, someday that they're going to be
But-
graceful.
And that's what I'm saying. Like
3 years later, he's still not graceful.
That's the thing, though. They see that guy, and they see the length and the size and the Kentucky pedigree, and they're like, "Give me 4 years, I'll mold him into something." I think it's unfounded. I think a lot of people projects things, but yeah,
And the whole thing is that you're going to look. If Kevin Knox is the second round of going to a contender, I could put him in a role to start out with. Hey, Kevin Knox, corner threes and just run to the basket, crash to the rim, crash the basket, run out on a break, transition offense. All right, now he has a discernible role you could put him in. But these scouts, they're talking about, oh, if you just give him time to develop, but I'm gonna project him to go in the lottery. And it's like, well, most of these lottery teams are bad teams with bad coaching and bad development. Like you probably need more ready-made players who can kind of elevate the team past the whole bad environment around. So Kevin Knox, again, it's like, why would these scouts sit here and say, oh, if you develop him, but hey, I project him to go at number 5 or is this? I don't know. I watch Kevin Knox. I'm sorry. I know he's young, but I've seen young players on bad teams eat. And I mean, like, and may not even give him the same numbers that Knox had his rookie year, but you're like, yo, this boy, for instance, Desmond Bain.
He's already killing it.
Grizzlies. And he's only averaging, like, I think 9 points. He's not, but
No, what I'm saying, for a kid to come in like that.
No, I agree. No,
Yeah.
Steve, I agree with you. I'm just saying that he's not even putting up as many points as Knox did his rookie year, but he's coming and playing major minutes, or significant minutes for his role.
And he looks like a player.
And he looks
Thank you, Freeze.
like a player. He's
And
hitting.
he has at least has a go-to move or something like, wow, I don't know what Knox's go-to, meaning I know he shoots, but if he gets the ball, he's going to take a dribble and then he's going to pass it off because he has 2 left feet. Another super chat, L. Marshall, thank you for your generosity tonight. We greatly appreciate it. L. Marshall says Knox is too high maintenance. Get him out of here. And I think your wish may be coming true soon. So
I think he's out of here too.
yeah, well, there's only so much, like we said, as L. Marshall said, maintenance. You're putting so much
This is just the worst.
effort
Yeah.
and time and coaching and everything, and you have to. And like Guillermo just said, give me 5 boards, give me a post up, give me some other semblance of. But when you watch him not getting over screens, always looks like a step behind. Always looks or back doors, and you see that body language after he knows he blew it because he has that look like, is the coach about to pull me? You could see the young kids like, oh no, I'm going to get pulled real quick after that mistake. You see it on Obi's face and everything, but it's a different type of face. Hey, Christoph, another super chat. Sorry guys,
No.
you guys talking about Knox, but Mitch looks like a baby deer out there. Is he slow?
Yes. Yeah. I'm having the same issues. The same issues I have with Kevin Knox. I'm having with Mitchell Robinson, man.
Yeah.
I would do Mitch for Jackson Hayes right now.
Oh, Lord.
I would not even bat an eyelash.
It's not the worst idea, to be honest.
Right.
Yeah.
I
This is not the worst idea, man.
And he's not playing the kid
Right.
on
right.
New Orleans.
Right, and right, and so the thing with Mitch is this, man. I mean, don't tell me that you're a top-notch guy, and every time I watch the game, I watch a high-level bench player that's starting. It's frustrating, and don't talk to me about development. Like, oh, Mitch, man, he's developed. No, man, no. First of all,
No, there are parts of his game that's development for you.
the first thing you learn in basketball is to value the basketball, and my man can't
I thought you were going to say catch the ball. That's
Yeah, I was about to
right,
say
right,
every
yeah,
game
right,
I'm thinking a coach saying,
right,
God, there goes those
right,
hands again. There
right.
goes those lousy hands again.
That's
Yeah,
that's the first thing we learn is to value it, like possess it. And Mitch can't catch it in order to possess it. And it's frustrating me, man. The deal is that don't talk to me about no, I wouldn't trade Mitch in the number 8 pick for the number 2 pick. Right. That was the thing before the
I
draft.
would have done
Like
that for LaMelo.
right, people were like,
Even though I
no,
thought-
Wiseman, Mitch. I had a conversation with Sam Russell from Nothing But Knicks about James
Ooh.
Wiseman, right? And I was like, dog, the dude is so much more athletic. I mean, probably about the same athletic ability as Mitch, and has these skills that will translate first day. And I keep getting slammed. Like, what does everybody see in Mitch that makes you think we need to hold on to him?
I think they see
What is it that
those block shots at the 3-point line a couple of years ago. I don't know.
But he's got he's got Shaquille O'Neal blocks, right? And people are like, oh, Shaq was a great defender. No, he blocked one shot and sent it into the stands, and now you think he's Olajuwon. No, Olajuwon would have blocked the shot and kept it in bounds, potentially ran the break with it, right? Shaq has loud blocks and loud defensive plays, right? Mitchell Robinson has loud defensive plays. Mitchell Robinson's the starter and doesn't even lead our team in blocks.
Yeah,
Nerlens Noel plays half the minutes that Mitch does and leads our team in blocks. I mean, what do we even? And okay, so
blocks are not even blocks are not aren't the so-called greatest indicator of good defense, because again, eyes blocks that you're talking about come from weak side defense, right?
If you watch film on Noel, you could rip your hair out of your head.
Yeah, Noel's not a good on-ball defender. He loses his man a lot. But the thing with Mitch, and this is why I talk about development, people don't talk about, again, his defensive field goal percentage versus that opponent's regular field goal percentage when they're not playing against Mitch. And I believe, well, at the time I was saying it's still negative. But again, the guy's fouling out less, and he's doing things that don't show. But again, his picks are terrible. Hands can be terrible. Doesn't shoot. But again, there are points, especially compared to last year, that he's improved on. And the things that just we get mad because, again, we look at it like all those kids of yesteryear. Oh, whenever they do something bad. But let's be honest, the kids from yesteryear they had some terrible coaching. Yeah, I'm even saying that for Frank and Knox, all those kids, right?
Right.
And let's be honest, a kid is playing 30-some minutes a night and not fouling out. Footwork has been a lot better defensively under Tibbs, where at least he's doing a somewhat better job of keeping his feet on the floor versus jumping for everything. He's still jumping for a lot of stuff. Right. But again, incremental development. Again, and I'm not saying for Mitch, let's not conflate this. If you get an Evan Mobley, if that's the guy that's available after Suggs and those guys are gone, or you're Christian Woods, hey, or you're saying, hey, do we pay Mitch $14 million? No,
I don't think
so.
I don't think you do.
Yeah, I'm not on that train, but let's try to see what you could get from a guy who was he's a second rounder, right? Yeah, he's a second rounder. Let's see what you could get for him until that day comes. We have him for another year. You know what I mean? If you can get him to develop and mature, that frontal lobe kind of matures. What is he, 21, 22, whatever he is?
22.
22. It more develops at 25, so whatever. But let's see what we can get from him. But again, I just think that we have to be a little bit more nuanced how we look at his game. I get Freezy. I'm with you. Every time he drops or he messes up a pass that RJ gets to him, or Peyton, somebody gets to him, it's like dogs. And
or misses a rebound that goes out of his hands.
Or misses a rebound.
Yeah.
What about the putback? What about these stupid putbacks?
He had one today that Clyde was like, yo, you couldn't get any easier, man. You're right there. And that was at a critical time. Hey, a quick shout out. Sherwin M. said to Stephen Fox, you are wrong. You're watching Knox, looking for what you can say that is not positive. I've been doing this gig for a while, Sherwin, and I'm hoping that I build some trust with you guys that I'm not a troll that just goes against a player. I don't have, if RJ has a bad game, I'll say RJ has a bad game, and when RJ has a good game, I say RJ has a good game. Yes. But Knox, I'm not going to be saying, he had a nice 1 rebound game tonight, Knox, and he almost had a half assist. I'm just saying his body of work does not equate to saying anything positive. I'm not saying negative.
Airtime he gets on this show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
I'm
like,
not
let's
saying
move on.
it's negative. So, Sherwin, I assure you, I am not saying I'm not an anti-Knox. I'm just a pro Knicks.
Hmm.
Right, right. And the thing with Knox, man, and I don't want to turn it into the Knox at, but the thing with Knox is this: um, if you have to do that much in order to get the very best out of him, and he's going to have a limited, why bother?
Yeah,
If Kevin Knox was going to be a top 50 player in the NBA, I would say do all those necessary steps, because that means probably borderline all star.
yeah.
But for a guy that's going to be the ninth man on your roster, why bother? You know what I mean? Why bother? I can draft the guy to replace him in June and not even miss him.
Facts.
You know, I mean, why even bother? We could draft, like, we could take a shot on a kid like Scotty Barnes, right? And at least we know there's a motor there, right?
Yeah.
And we could teach other stuff.
Oof.
Is
Yeah.
we're fascinated with the skills, and there's no motor. I mean, come on, man. I mean,
Yeah, we
the
talked
thing
about
is,
it.
sometimes,
Yeah, I was gonna say, Frieza, we can move on. I think we said our pieces about Knox, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's not just Knox. It's
I'm
just
ready.
all the young big players, man. It's like and I want to ask you guys about this. I guess at least just like quickly, does he represent a paradigm shift for the young players, or what this organization wants to see in its young players, and even Obi too, because Obi's attitude, I don't care what no one says about, oh, he's not his attitude, I think has been excellent. I have yet to see him
Wonderful.
slump his shoulders. He's in all the post game, but he's not falling for any like little tricks or bananas in the tailpipes with any trick questions to try to. The guy looks composed. The guy's always smiling, even if he's like, I played 6 minutes, I ain't do nothing, man. This is Lord Jesus, I keep making mistakes. I have not seen that once on his face. The guy quickly, this guy is like, he's almost like a kid in a candy shop. He's kissing babies, shaking hands. Oh man, you're my guy, man. He's sitting there talking trash back to Dame Lillard, basically scaring the Blazers, almost getting them to the point where they're about to, the first game, lose a game after Dame Lillard said all that trash. What are the differences you guys see? I don't think game wise, but just like from the attitude, the intangibles you see from this regime of new kids versus some of the guys we drafted in the past.
Well, I was
Ladies
gonna
and
say,
gentlemen, the one, the only Pal has joined.
Yo,
Hello, everybody. Good
Take
evening.
it, Coach. I'm sorry.
no, it's fine. I was gonna
Hey,
say, I
Foxy,
think
you gonna hang around for a little bit? Or
Yeah,
you-
for a little
If you
bit.
need me to, I will. I'll be cutting
I
out in a second, though. If you don't.
No, I'm good for.
All
We'll just go up to about 3 o'clock. I'll rock till 3.
Okay, then I'll just go a couple more minutes. Hear my guys talk. I don't want to. I like Pal, so I want to hear some of his takes. So,
Yeah.
so Coach, take it first, and then we'll kick it over to our guy.
I think RJ signified that paradigm shift. Like we finally drafted. I'm glad you brought this up, because like Knox and Frank were projects, and we knew that they were going to be long haul kind of things, and they're going to be very hit or miss. But in RJ, Obi, and IQ, it was, say what you want about Obi's minutes or what have you, but we got three guys who showed in college that they had NBA, at least one or two NBA ready skills, and were coming from places that either top programs and or had high pedigree. Like we took a Duke kid, a Kentucky kid, and the Wooden Player of the Year. Like like in terms of intangibles and the kissing babies and saying the right things, we hit home runs on that because we took those type of guys. And I think in terms of their game, it has to be the fact that we finally took guys who have ready to go at least one or two NBA skills, and it's a good fit.
Yeah, Pal, how are you? How's things?
I'm doing well, man. Just, burning the midnight oil and kicking it.
Yeah.
Salute, bro.
Well, you're out in Cali, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
SoCal.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cheating. That's not nice.
You're lucky because we've been nailed here. I don't know if you have some friends here. Being killed with snow, man.
Oh yeah, my family's still over there.
Yeah, so it's been brutal.
Yeah.
Brutal. Another foot today, man. I'm too old for this.
Supposed to be more tomorrow, bro. Or
and
Really?
tomorrow,
today.
and I think Thursday later in the
Jesus.
week, and I'm like, come on, please.
Brutal, dude.
I actually
Yeah.
kind of like it, man. I don't know. I like clean. I like when the snow first, like that first snowfall, man.
The air is so different, right? It's
It,
like
I like snow. I don't like commuting in the snow.
oh yeah, commuting.
Yeah,
is
for
There
real.
you go. That's
horrible.
why
It's
I don't mind the
Yeah.
snow though.
Because my
Yeah.
wife said to me, "Hey, you know that tree in the corner? Yep, it's
Oh.
broke. What do you mean? Yeah, the thing just cracked today." And it was like, "All right, so I'll be planting a tree in the spring, I
Oh.
guess." So, pal, what'd you think of the game? What's on your what's your thoughts tonight?
I mean, I think a lot of it's already been said throughout the day, as far as the D Rose trade, I feel somewhat disappointed, but it's not really a trade that really bothers me just because of what it costs, but I think there could have been a better move.
Such as?
I don't I was gonna say I don't know what exactly.
Oh, okay.
Maybe waiting would have been a
I
better
don't know
move.
what, but I know I don't like that.
But maybe a better move would have been, or just to wait. Sometimes no move is better. But you play past the turn. But as far as the conversation earlier, we were just talking. I just want to touch base on Knox because that's where I was coming into. I just want to remind people that not every single draft pick will hit. Not every single one, even if you pick them in the top 10, then sometimes you'll get an Anthony Bennett. Sometimes you'll get a Colin Sexton. It's a
I know
gamble.
young Vegeta is number 7, meaning a Jamal Murray, man. So why can't we luck out one of these
Yeah.
days and get a player of that level at that mid? That's not a top 3. And you're like, come on, other people got it. Can't we? We had Knox, we had Frank. Obi, I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt that he'll turn out okay, but you're like, you want
But
some instant gratification, like immediately, like, oh my god, we got somebody, oh my god, rather than, well, hopefully in a couple of years they'll be good.
well, I'll say about that draft thing. As much as I mean, so far, I wouldn't say quickly is a paradigm shift, but more like now we have a pick that actually can play. So this is going to be a question for our staff, see how they're going to develop it, because I don't think I don't remember the last time where within the last 4 years or 5 years we drafted 2 players that are like performing. RJ was suspect in the beginning, but he clearly showed up. He represented. IQ is doing his thing. We can't deny that. And at the same time, all of the small mistakes that we are seeing is due to him being a rookie, and he's going to improve over time. I have no worries about him. OB, he'll get his time, but I think we'll be all right, man. I think we'll be all right. We could have maybe waited, but we'll see.
Yeah, my only issues with Obi is that if you can't post up Osman and you can't post up Satoransky, you can't be calling yourself a 4. if you can't post up those dudes, so he's a tweener, and but there's room in this league for tweeners. If you can hit mid range, you hit your shots and do some other things, and he has bounce, so
I would love to see him in the high post. I haven't seen him in the high post yet this season, especially since he's like an okay passer. Like he's at least an average.
Passer.
Like get him on the high post, and either he's a mismatch for someone playing man to man on him and he kicks it out, or he beats the guy off the dribble, or if there's nothing there, he can stand in the corner or do something like that.
I think you're gonna see it, man. Just gotta be a little bit patient again.
Yeah.
They're working on his perimeter game. I think you probably see more of that in the second half, especially if we don't, we're not projected again or looking to get into playoffs. You might see a little more experimenting, but just be patient with him, man. It's Tom Thibodeau again. He was set up. He was set up to fail, right? He's a good coach who got this team to overachieve. Now we have the same people, not you, coach, but there are people who are saying, get Tom Thibodeau out of here because he's not developing the players. But it's like, oh, we in the playoffs. It's like, well, he has a task of getting you to the playoffs
with a mediocre roster.
Yes, guys. There's a reason why Tom Thibodeau is not married and he doesn't have children. He doesn't want the stress. The stress is too much. Think about it. Guys, be patient with Tom Thibodeau. If the guy's not that guy in a few years, fair enough. But everywhere he's went, playoffs, Celtics, playoffs, a championship as assistant coach, Bulls, playoffs, Timberwolves, give the time. Guys, Knick fans, We weren't going to the playoffs last year, the year before that. Let the guy breathe. Holy crap.
Guillermo, to that point, Clyde today said on the broadcast, he said that when he arrived at Madison Square Garden today at 10:30 this morning, the Knicks were running through their plays, and after that, all the guys were working out individually, one-on-one, for preparation, and that is a total Tibbs type of team. That he runs those guys and prepare, and that's why I opened up saying that that last year at this time we were 4-20. After 24 games and we're 11-13. That's a massive change, and especially with we don't have Mook, we don't have Portis, we don't have I think we don't have as good of a roster actually than we did a year ago, and yet we have a much better roster, much better record,
better play.
Hey, so let me ask y'all this: have y'all seen the Bleacher Report?
I hate
report, no pun intended. Well, I guess the pun is intended in this case. But that Elfrid Payton is receiving trade interest from around the league.
I saw that in the chat that a couple of contenders and like I said, physicality. Payton is a very good second string. I don't look at him as a starting guard, but the few things he's an elite getting to the rim guy. Like I said, he's second last year in the league. He just have the games where he finishes like the previous two, and then he comes back to earth and he has the game like he does today, where you just like, oh my God, you can't hit you're a pro and you can't hit a 3-foot freaking shot. Come on, man.
Yeah. So, the game slows down in a ton in the playoffs. You need those type of guards.
Yeah.
You just need those type of guards who are going to slow it down for 20, 25 minutes for the night, in a game 4. It's going to keep everyone calm and get the ball to the right people.
And not miss defensive assignments.
And at least be a plus defender.
Right.
So that will mean what? Will he have to decline his no trade clause to?
So I just want to add some clarity on the no trade clause. It's a no trade clause, but not because they gave him one.
Yeah, it's like
CBA, isn't it?
It's just a CBA. So it's not like Carmelo. We gave a no trade clause.
Right.
That's different than Payton. It's a technically a no trade clause.
Right. Yeah, they don't want teams playing games that way.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. They don't want teams like But the thing is with the Elfrid Payton, I think if there's a move to be made, the Knicks have to take it. And if the Knicks had planned this all along, that's another feather in the cap of the Knicks front office.
Yeah, I don't know how these guys are going to maneuver. I'm so used to before that I'm biased about the things before. I find myself thinking about Knick moves that they're going to pull, and I'm like looking for it. So, this is going to change things for sure.
Pal, would you do Elfrid for Kyle Kuzma?
That's not going to be enough.
We would, but they wouldn't.
Right. So
I'll give you a crummy player for.
We might be able to get somebody like Kostas Antetokounmpo, but not Kyle Kuzma. They're gonna want somebody else.
Are you serious?
Kyle Kuzma was in their rotation.
Yeah, Elfrid Payton's a starter.
For the Knicks.
For the Knicks.
Jinx.
I'm just saying, man.
That's my pal.
Kyle Kuzma is what, like 14 points a game?
It doesn't matter, man. He's got
Kyle Kuzma,
young Laker kid, got a chip. They're gonna want more than that.
Yeah, well,
and he shoots threes.
Rob Pelinka.
Would you do Elfrid Payton and Knox for Kyle Kuzma?
The only team I could see him like playing with is the Grizzlies.
Who,
Memphis, yeah. Somebody like Memphis could use him. Because I
think the Clippers could use him, but they don't have asset.
You're not getting Kyle.
Not Kyle Kuzma.
Hey, that was a Freezy. Thank you for saying that. I saw a statistic today that half the league can't trade their first round picks this year because the Stepien rule.
Right, because the Stepien.
Yeah, so half the because they've been trading and doing all those things, so half the teams in the league this year can't trade a first round pick this year.
That is a great thing if you're the Knicks.
It is.
Because it limits the market. Now we
have leverage.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Next year comes around, we clear out Joakim Noah. Was that 6.8 mil?
2 or 3 more years or something like that.
2 more years.
Two
Yeah.
more years? Oh man.
God.
Yeah.
Well,
Thanks, Phil. Appreciate it.
damn.
Freeze, you cool to take over?
Yep, I'm good.
My pup's giving me a look like, you better let me out pretty soon, there, buddy. This couch is gonna have a funky.
You're gonna have some wet shoes?
Oh,
Exactly.
Oh Lord.
So
that was a joke from a previous episode.
boom, boom. So,
Oh.
so I'll see you guys Tuesday, and I'll be taking copious notes for film study purposes and everything else. And go Knicks. Hopefully it'll be a revenge game, and we'll come out blazing and as much as we can. And go Knicks. So, but to the Knicks at Night and Knicks Morning Drive, just the Blarens Tears family. Love you guys. I'll see you on Tuesday. Thanks for all your help, and please do me a favor. Get those likes up. We have 114 people in the chat right now at almost 2:30 in the morning. And let me just get a latest update. And we have 85 likes. So please get those up.
Hit them
And,
like.
Yep. Our Future Gaming. Thank you so much. C-Mac, L. Marshall. God bless you, man. Salute to you. Thank you for your kind words. Sima, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Love you.
See you,
Tuesday.
Take
Thanks,
care, man.
Steve.
Peace.
Take care.
See ya.
So Freezy, what show we want to start now, man? What do you want?
Freezy's got half an hour to start something.
What do you want, Freezy?
There's not going to be any trouble here. This is like the most logical group.
Yeah,
here,
you
right?
you got the chill group tonight, bro. You got the chill. There's been such a chill Blanche Tears.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm doing work right now, but it's very, very pleasurable just to talk.
Yeah.
Sanity with people with and different opinions. Look, me and Coach Colorbox, we disagree somewhat
Half
on
the
like the
podcast
genius concept.
disagreed, yeah.
And it's been perfect. There's been no the Mac Knox. It's like dog.
Yeah.
I don't want to. It's so, bro. When I'm watching, we watched the Mavericks versus the Warriors the other night, and it was I was so jealous to watch like even talented role players like that guy Maxi Kleber, or whatever his name is, hit the last 3 for the match. It's like
I'd kill for that guy in this team.
For a front court, yeah, he's a power forward, right?
Yeah. And he guards. He's a 3-and-D guy too.
Oh, just to have that, just to have talent. And mind you, the Mavericks have been doing fairly poorly these past few games, but just looking at the Warriors, even though the Warriors, their defense has been a little shoddy, but Pascal and Lee, and even though Curry went off for like 51, but it's just watch the Nets. You see these it's fun to watch just talented players, like where you see like an open 3 and you're like, damn, yeah, I know he's gonna make it. It's good. You know what I mean? Like you just watch him.
That's how I feel about the Grizzlies too. Because they're and then everybody's just he's lifting everybody up. Like the coach is just that's what I envy about that team the most is the coach and Ja are like eye to eye with each other.
Yeah.
They're eye to eye with each other and they're discussing plays with each other. So we need a playmaker.
It's unfair, man. It's just absolutely beautiful to watch that type of basketball, man. Oh my gosh, just to watch Ja Morant get it to Dylan.
Is he that much bigger than Kevin Knox? Maxi Kleber.
He's heavier. He's got a bigger frame than him.
Yeah, he has like a bigger frame. Slower, I believe.
He's more of a bigger guy, I think.
Yeah. Even though Knox,
and I think he enjoys playing basketball more.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
I agree with you, man. Your boy Kevin Knox is yikes. Where's the design? How do you come into the league and it's like you don't have that fire? Like, and it's not even your spot is up for takes and you're not mad about it. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't even seem like I would not be smiling on the court. Like I seem like, hey, like they're coming out and practicing and warming up. And he's just like, I would be like, I'll be looking at the next person like, dude, I need my job back, bro. Like I gotta feed my family, bro. Like you taking money out of my pocket. I don't even feel that fire.
No fire, no desire. No.
Yeah, man. When you're AAU star,
all right.
and you get everything handed to you, you don't really feel that necessitation to be so fiery in the pros. Like he got everything handed to him since he was like 16. It's the same deal at Kentucky. You're a movie star when you're in Kentucky.
Right.
Yeah.
And I always felt like the dude felt like he was a star I always felt because when you heard Kevin, because when R.J. Barrett and those guys got drafted, R.J. Barrett and Brez Davis were drafted by the Knicks. Kevin Knox was like, "Yeah, I'm looking forward to bringing the young guys under my wing and doing." And I'm like,
He said
"Dog,
that. He said that the other night too.
what again?"
Again, yeah, it's like, yo, I'm
Oh,
just here to bring the young guys in.
oh
I'm taking
yeah,
the young
yeah.
guys under my wing. This was the other day, right
Yo,
after that whole situation where he got. Remember when it was announced that he would be situational? Okay,
right.
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, man.
No, that's it. I just don't. I just can't believe he said that. Like, what do you
Right.
mean? Who are you gonna son?
Yeah,
If
and
anything, IQ is sunning you, my guy.
they're older than you, right? Or not IQ, Obi at least is
Obi.
older.
Obi and
Yeah.
the guys, yeah, and so I wanted to figure out what type of person he was, right? When ESPN drafted him, I mean not drafted, when ESPN interviewed him before the draft, like the day before the draft, he was super confident. He knew absolutely where he was going, right? When I look back on it, me and my son, we looked back and it was like, yo, this dude knew he was getting drafted by it. He had no care in the world.
We got wasn't not the confirmation, but I was like I want to say like 3-4 days before the draft, they do one last mock,
Right.
and everything had us taking Knox.
Right.
He went from late riser to being the secured pick at number 9. He must have known. Same thing with Obi. Obi went from like, is he gonna go 2 or 3 to like being mocked to the Knicks by every draft within the last week. They know.
Right. And so I just want to throw. I'm gonna throw a live grenade in here, but it's not because I want to. But so we talked about Tom Thibodeau and the front office may have a difference of opinion when it comes to personnel.
Mm-hmm.
But man, the Knicks not drafting Devin Vassell at 8 baffles my mind right now.
Don't do that, Freezy, because you
It
fought me day and night about Naismith. Don't try to come back on the Vassal train now, Freezy. Stay over there with Naismith, your boy.
Everything can't be about Legion. I'm not saying what I'm saying. What I'm saying is Thibodeau. Thibodeau is a defensive-minded head coach.
Right.
The Knicks had a legit need at small forward, and it seems as if the two was a match made in heaven.
Freezy,
especially with Devin Vassell's mentality.
Freezy, this is why I asked you guys, do you guys see a possible issue brewing between Tom Thibodeau and the front office? You don't bring in a Johnny Bryant and a Kenny Payne from Kentucky, where they had obviously he's blocked by Calipari, but a cush job. A cush job.
Yeah.
You don't
work
bring
out
those
for the
guys
rest of your
over.
life. Yeah.
Right. But hold up. You could have those guys probably go over to a smaller D1 school and develop their own little coaching tree and their own little, you know what I mean? So, Freezy, that's what I'm saying to you is like, you don't bring those guys over unless you're saying, hey, look, we like you, Tom. You be our, our coach, our guy. But hey, if you don't fall in line, you know what I mean? And the thing I'm scared about, Freezy, that second pick, bro, if it gets to that 17, 18, 19, even the 15, 16 range, and they take a BJ Boston.
Right.
That might be the end of Tom Thibodeau. That could be implosion.
So today there was an interesting part in one of Tom Thibodeau's post-game interviews. I think one of the questions was about the rotation or picks or whatever. And then the way he responded, he said was, that's more of a question for Leon Rose and not me. I'm just a coach.
See?
So
yeah. Hey, I got 3 letters for you, Freezy.
Oh Lord.
CAA.
Oh
yeah.
Lord.
I thought you were gonna say Michael Kidd Gilchrist.
No.
Oh,
But CAA, man. That's why Obi got taken with number 8 pick.
I'm telling it's something, and hey, coach, you've been saying it, but
I've been saying it all year.
it's sickening. Something just
It
feels
stinks.
weird.
I'm telling you, it stinks. The CAA stuff stinks. I've been saying this. You can check every podcast.
I would rather have
beginning of the year. It
than the
stinks.
Steve Mills stink that we had for the past
Fair enough.
15 years.
Fair enough.
I'm
but I'm just saying, in 2 and 3 years, when Leon Rose has a team full of his boys, and we're stuck with them, you'll know what I'm talking about.
And Leon Rose will probably get fired, and then go right back into agency,
Oh yeah,
with no problem. With no
Wait,
problem.
why would Leon get fired though?
Well, it happens. It happens with team presidents.
but he would
Yeah,
need
but
to really
the coach
F up
should be
Freezy.
fired first. The
Yeah,
coach should be
yeah.
fired first.
No,
He
no,
would
no.
need-
So I'm not saying this. So I'm not saying Leon Rose is going to be an immediate failure. And I probably should have chose a better term. When Leon Rose leaves, how about that? When Leon Rose leaves, because I don't see Leon Rose being here for 10 years.
No, I got you. I got the gist of what you're saying, Freezy. It's like he has all the leverage.
Right.
Like if he resigns tomorrow, he can go right back to making bank off players again.
Yeah.
Like, what's the incentive for him running the Knicks?
Right.
Right.
There is one benefit to all of this CAA thing, though. There's just one vision. It doesn't matter if it's like all like the same people. It's just there's a vision, so there's no confusion. This isn't like Philly, where
Yeah.
everybody's like, "Oh, this wasn't like last season."
That's the thing, though.
And like the Lakers are
they're
also
motive,
dealing with
though.
the same issue too. Like it's like clutch Lakers over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they have LeBron, so they can do that.
No, I know, but what I'm just saying is like what that provides is vision.
Sure.
It
Like,
does.
what-
But look at the Warriors, right? The Warriors got those Splash Brothers before the GM. Did they get it before that GM?
Before
came?
that
It was
purchase?
before the like
Bob
financial. What was it, social capital and all that? Those guys.
Yeah.
It was
But you
before
got-
that.
So
But you guys remember they were also in a predicament. Like they had to choose between Monte Ellis or
Right.
Curry. Well,
Curry.
obviously we know now what went down, but they had to make a tough decision because they were trying to make them work out. They were trying, but
Yeah. The deal was more so that Monte Ellis's game was more suited to be a guy off the bench as opposed to, because you can't just jock out Clay. You know what I'm saying? I mean, come on, Monte Ellis. And then Monte Ellis, after the moped accident, you didn't know
right.
if you didn't know if he was going to be the super athlete he was before the moped accident. And to come to find out, the dude was probably more athletic than he was, even though his shooting suffered.
his shooting sucked.
Yeah.
I like
Shoot,
Monteos
bro.
though. He was a talented
nice.
flasher,
And that dude
man.
was buckets, bro.
Oh yeah,
He was buckets.
Absolute-
He was
absolute
buckets before the moped, man. He was buckets.
It
He was buckets.
Yeah.
It
and
was
I mean
fun to watch.
this kind of situation also gives us advantage during the draft because there's already the connection with Kentucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you don't want a team where you're because this is what I'm saying with Tom Thibodeau. Tom Thibodeau is looking at this team, right? Again, he's doing the most that he can, and he's that second pick. He may want a ready-made player who can come in and fit a certain role, right? He may not have an upside of a BJ because I still think BJ Boston's talented. I just feel like he's not getting developed at Kentucky. And Tom Thibodeau doesn't have 10 years, 15 years for a project like the Knicks. At least I don't think he won it, even though he probably tried to coach until the day that, whatever. But
I'm sorry.
Go. Breezy, go ahead.
I'm gonna tell you this, and y'all may disagree, but the secret sauce to Kentucky is Kenny Payne,
Mhm.
right? And so if you get BJ Boston to New
Mhm.
York, guess what New York has?
Yeah, but Freezy, that's if Kenny that sounds great if Kenny Payne is the coach, bro.
Yeah, I'm talking about in terms of on the practice floor.
I agree with you 1,000,000%, and this is where I'm a little bit scared of that happening, where it's not really the Tom Thibodeau show, or they're not making it or preparing it so it's the Tom Thibodeau. It's they're truly trying to get the Kenny Payne, not Kenny Payne. It'll be Johnny Bryant, the next guy, right?
Yeah.
Wait, but
Go
I
ahead.
don't even think this is going to be possible to be a Tom Thibodeau show because he was just put in here by our staff. He wasn't like, here, Tom Thibodeau, we're hiring you, bring in all your staff. Maybe he only brought I think he only brought like Daisuke Yamamoto, the video the other assistant coach, but the rest of them are handpicked by Rose.
No,
So it's
the two brothers are Tom Tip. What's the brother?
Yes, it's not 100. It's not 100. Tom, it wasn't like Fizdale, and he chose all of his guys, even down to the medical staff. So I don't know because this also gives like, look, I'm not trying to like flag for CAA or nothing, but I just what I mean. Like I would like to see some consistency for now because like it's been such a long time. Like for years, we had to keep figuring out, who's going to be our starters, who's going to be our starters. Even though we didn't want EP as our starters, for months we knew EP was going to be the starter. It's been a long time since we had something like that. So I just want to wait, man, because I want to be cautiously pessimistic, as I should say, not really optimistic. It's been crazy.
That's the best way to put it, honestly.
Yeah.
As a Knicks fan, you have to be cautiously pessimistic.
Yeah.
Cautiously
I don't.
The lowest of the low.
You can just be pessimistic. It'll be the same. You both guys are coming to the same damn conclusion with this Knicks team, man. Don't even worry about that because, oh my gosh, Tom Thibodeau. I'm telling you, man, just watch out. It'll be some weird thing where it's like Moses Moody or Corey Kispert is right there, and Tom Thibodeau is just salivating for that dead eye shooter, or Moses Moody, 3-and-D player, and
BJ Boston. It'll be BJ Boston. That's 100% gonna happen.
Oh,
But what does this say about?
So who does BJ Boston profile? Like at
Kevin Knox.
no, he does. Stop.
I'm messing with you.
Stop.
I
He's not
got a
Kevin
question
Knox,
for you
bro.
guys. I got a question for you guys, right?
That's terrible, man.
Hey, Paul. Let me get the answer to this question first.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, like who does BJ Boston profile for legit in the NBA? Like if he hits, who's he profile to be like?
If he hits, who does he profile? Tall, lanky guy, has some leverage when he drives. Not a good shooter yet. I would say a very poor man's Brandon Ingram.
Oh, I like that. Yo, this was the
I
kid
don't
who
think
played
he's got the. I
Sierra
don't think.
Canyon.
But he needs. But again, develop. I'm talking about if he hits. If he hits, he could be a poor man. I'm gonna say very poor man. He could be a poor man, but he has to. I'm talking about hit. I'm talking about development. I'm talking about mental. All that put together. At UK, he's not getting that. They have no spacing. The players don't complement each other. They just basically just run out there, space out, drive to the basket, kick out, and see what you have. Try to drive, get some pick and rolls. It's really bad coaching. So Kenny Payne may have been the guy. You know, I've been saying, but BJ Boston, when I watch him, and this is why I say he's talented, but he's just so raw.
Yeah.
We might poor man's Brandon Ingram.
We might get a BI or a Kelly Oubre.
I don't
even BJ Boston.
No,
we might get the lowest of it. If it doesn't pan out for the guy, we might get a Kelly Oubre. I'm just saying.
So I was thinking, man, if everything hits and the shot comes along, he'll be Terrence Ross.
T. Ross.
No, Terrence Ross is dead eye shooter, bro.
No, I'm saying if his shooting comes along,
it is nowhere. It is nowhere.
Yeah, Terrence Ross is a great shooter. But yeah, so I mean, I understand what you're saying.
No,
but
Terrence
so
Ross
what about his athleticism?
Again, Brandon Ingram, like this tall, lanky. I think he might have a little bit more.
He's longer, right? I think he's longer.
He can
than
get
Ingram.
up. He can get up.
He's 6'8", 6'8", 6'8",
6'7", I think something.
He's gonna get taller.
And he might get taller.
He's gonna get taller.
He's just a lanky son of a gun. I think he might be a little bit bigger than Brandon Ingram. Yeah, he definitely, because Brandon Ingram was a stick.
Real thin, yeah.
It was scary. He looked sick when he first came to the NBA. It was weird. Like, does this guy eat? What's wrong with this dude?
He's nice though.
But see, that's the thing about it, though. His development was being stunted with the Lakers because the Lakers had literally two schools of thought. Pelinka and
wait, you know who my comparison is for him?
Oh, go ahead.
Don't roast me on it, but I think it's actually reasonable.
Oh Lord, he's gonna say some he's gonna say Wesley Johnson. Go ahead.
No. Mike Dunleavy.
No, Mike Dunleavy was a dead eye.
Dunleavy.
If the shooting comes around, he's got the same kind of play style as Mike Dunleavy.
I think he's
like
tough to Mike,
but he's like good at all three levels. Not great. He's like good at all three levels. Yeah, I see Mike Dunleavy. That's not a bad thing, by the way. Mike Dunleavy was buckets, but like I see a Mike Dunleavy kind of guy.
He's a little softer than Mike.
You know, the lankiness, the size, he's not like an elite athlete, but he's a good one. He's like good at all three levels because Dunleavy was 3-level scorer, but he's not like elite at 3 levels. Like I see like a Dunleavy kind of guy.
Michael Dunleavy.
Yeah.
Yeah. If he's not an elite athlete, I want to scratch him off the list because you have to offer me something, man. I mean, so you have to have something.
Freeze is
yeah. It's a hot take.
Dunleavy's not a bad thing, chat. Dunleavy was 20-point a game scorer.
if you have 2 firsts and your first is a Suggs or a Green, and the
other one's Mike Dunleavy, you take that.
I don't mind Mike Dunleavy as a second player. That's what Corey. I'm telling you guys, Corey Kispert, Marcus Moody. Watch out for those guys, especially Gonzaga's in the 20. It's Arkansas. Where's Arkansas ranked?
I don't know if I get a super Suggs, man, then I feel like I can gamble.
Now you like Suggs. Look at this guy. Now you like Suggs.
I mean, you've been putting him out there. You've been putting him out there.
Look at this guy, Freezy. Now you like. Oh wait, Freezy. Hold on. Salute to Daryl Pemberton. Gave you a $5 super chat. He says, Steven, you got me calling Knox Mr. Eugene Levy with 2 left feet.
Oh wow.
Salute to Daryl Pemberton, man.
Wow, that's crazy. So if we get super Suggs, right? I think I have to gamble with the next pick. I have to take the dude on the board with the highest upside.
So who do you want to take then?
I don't. Scotty Barnes reminds me right now of. No, listen, hear me out. I was gonna say Scotty Barnes reminds me of Nasir Little right now.
Yikes! I'm not sure about Scotty Barnes. Scotty Barnes scares me, bro.
Yeah. I mean, Nasir Little was supposed to be this guy at North Carolina, and all this energy and athleticism, and he wound up not being anybody.
Well, he's hurt right now, right?
I got my comparison for Barnes, but y'all not gonna like it.
Oh Lord, go ahead, man. This guy.
What?
I think you're just trolling now, Coach.
I'm not trolling. I'm not trolling.
Coach trolling blocks.
No. I was gonna say Jabari Parker.
What?
No. Jabari Parker was able to pick his spots on the floor way more advanced than Scotty Barnes. Scotty Barnes is like an energy guy.
Yeah.
Can run the floor, but very raw. Can't shoot for his life.
Yep.
I guess.
That's another one of those Duke guys that didn't really pan out.
Yeah, is that? Yeah, well, he could not stay healthy.
Injuries derailed Jabari Parker.
Yeah, Jabari Parker.
Yeah, he could score.
Jalil Okafor.
Batum is not Batum.
Jalil Okafor.
We got like one good Duke kid though, RJ. So
Zion's not good.
He's all right, man. I mean, I'll be honest with you. He's all right, dude.
He's all right,
okay.
man. Zion.
Right?
He has. I'll give this to Zion. He has great footwork down low.
There's nobody in MSG to watch him. That was the point of that draft. Is like you get mad tickets and we don't need him. He's.
I guess Batum. Sorry for Scotty Barnes. I guess like someone.
No, Batum could shoot. What are you Scotty Barnes is not, but Scotty Barnes is like. Who's a good comp? He's like
But are we saying like what he is now? What do you think he could be?
What he is now is he's like a Stanley Johnson. Can't shoot, energy guy, has some size to him, some strength to him. Has an attitude about him. You think you could develop him? You may be able to, you may not be able to, but he's very raw. Very raw. Well, I'll say one thing though, he's going to be probably a very good defensive player. The way FSU is probably developing him, plus on what he had coming from high school, he's going to be a high energy, high defensive guy. He just may never be able to pick spots on the floor to create a shot.
Oh, I got one for you.
Oh, that's a good one. Oh no, Keyshawn said OG Anunoby. That's a good one.
OG Anunoby.
OG Anunoby could shoot though. Only OG Anunoby can shoot.
Well, he can shoot.
Clutch.
He can shoot now.
That's a good one.
He can shoot now, but before,
I think last year he was shooting away until he got hurt. So OG Anunoby, bro, he was shooting. No. So he only had one bad year. Rookie year, 37% from three, 2.7 attempts a game. The year after that, 33.2% from three attempts. And then last year, 39% for 3.3 attempts. This year, 43.3% of a 5.7 attempts. The dude was a shooter, or he came in and being able to shoot. I think he got hurt last year or the year before. No, I think it was the year before. That was the year with Kawhi. Yeah, the year before when they won the championship, he got hurt.
Yeah, the championship. Yeah, he was hurt.
He had like a stomach thing, right, or appendicitis or something like that.
He's had something weird.
Yeah.
Damn. So OG Anunoby could shoot, man.
Nah, he nice.
Don't kill your boy
They
like
actually
that.
have a good development team over there. I think they got Jerry Stackhouse over there in the Raptors 905.
They
No,
do.
no. Stackhouse coaches Vanderbilt.
Oh, you're right. You know, he's
No,
in,
didn't
you're
was
right.
wasn't he
'Cause, yeah,
there before though?
he was
Yeah,
a G League.
was.
He was in the
He's
G
been
League.
he's been at Vanderbilt for 2 years.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Freezy knows because he
he
was
was
looking
there.
at Nate Smith.
He was there developing Pascal in them.
Right, he was, and Van Vliet, and Norm Powell.
Damn, he nice.
Yeah, and
Why didn't we take him?
because
Knicks.
we're idiots.
Because we're the Knicks. It's,
Because we're
don't worry about it, sir. We're the Knicks.
Cautiously
all-
pessimistic.
At the end
Yeah,
of the day, if something goes wrong, which I hope it doesn't, because I'm kind of sick of the revolving door of coaches, is that we have Johnny Bryant, Kenny Payne, and Woody that is like next in line. So
Why did-
whatever happens,
But Powell, why didn't we even interview Anthony Grant?
I don't
Right,
know.
and so
Was he a CAA guy?
and so people are going to say, well, who is Anthony Grant? And if they say that, and so if you say who is Anthony Grant, it's the same old LOL Knicks, right? It's LOL Knicks, because Anthony Grant ran one of the best offenses in college basketball, not based on pace, but in terms of imaginative, forward-thinking offense. And a cat like Obi Toppin was in that offense.
Oh, he's a
And
Dayton
thriving.
guy.
Yes, he's a dude from Dayton, but he used to be the dude at Alabama.
Well,
I mean, I got an answer for you, but you know,
Oh,
I mean,
my only question is the CAA.
He's
You know?
I mean that's for those that like to think the game, that to like to break down film and stuff and watch beautiful basketball. If you like that kind of stuff, then Anthony Grant is somebody that should be on your radar. But if it's just one of those that offense only functions to get ball in the basket, then Anthony Grant may not be your guy. You know, I mean, it is what it is, I guess, when it comes to that.
Well, that's the downside of having the CAA connection, is they're gonna first put on their own people first.
Well, that's the reason why you make relationships, right? I mean,
So are we in the business of making relationships or trying to make the team better? That's the scary thing about the Knicks. It's like,
we don't know.
I'm not sure.
We haven't had these guys here for too long. I gotta see.
That's what I'm
so
scared
far,
about.
their first move is Derrick Rose. Okay, I'm not happy nor upset, but we'll see.
Yeah, Derrick Rose. I mean, he was the most available guy, man. I mean, oh Lord, this was bad. One guy to watch out for, Shaka Smart, Texas. That guy from.
I don't think he's ever going to come to the NBA.
I don't say never, man.
They've been flirting with his name for a while.
Hey, did you ever think that Brad Stevens was going to go to NBA with Butler?
No, but they weren't flirting with his name for a long time. He was a surprise hire. They've been flirting with Shaka Smart. Every offseason, Shaka Smart's supposed to go somewhere to the NBA. Never does.
I think
he's like it's him, Calipari. Every
no,
offseason.
he just got at Texas.
Every offseason they get rumored to go to the NBA.
I'm telling you, watch out for Shaka Smart, man. You guys don't realize I'm telling you.
They always get rumored, though. He always gets rumored.
All right, don't be surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised, but it's just a free news story when they say Shaka Smart's being looked at by XYZ team. He's not.
Who's an underrated prospect you guys have that no one's talking about that you think is going to be sickeningly nice?
I haven't been watching college ball at all, but what I do know is we have this new scouting staff from the Jazz. I think his name is Walt Perrin.
Yep.
So we'll see. Maybe he's got a lot of guys in the cut because that's why we put him on.
Yeah, Walt Perrin. Yeah, the guys from the Jazz, and hopefully they hit, man. I wonder what they
might be seeing the players that you're seeing, because like that's the type of players that our old staff wouldn't be looking at. Seriously, how did they miss Donovan Mitchell? He's in the same state. They could have just taken the bus upstate. Come on. That
is just sickeningly bad. That
he's right there.
The Knicks, freaking Phil Jackson was sleeping. I gotta breathe.
Yeah, Wusa. He's gone. Forget about him.
To sleep during Donovan Mitchell was a Met fan. Like, y'all don't, it's like, bro, are you
Met fans got it, bro, man. Oh man.
Are you freaking kidding me? You had a kid who was a Met fan. Do you understand how hard it is for someone to still be a Met? And I'm a Met fan. Y'all don't know how hard it was to stay a Met fan. It's not easy, man. Like, Dogs, you got to be freaking kidding me. You messed that up?
He's right there. He's a
I,
bus
I,
right
I,
away.
I will never forgive that imbecile for doing what he did, man.
They probably looking at the same players you guys are mentioning because these are different guys. You gotta see.
I pray, man, because Lord Jesus, if you had Suggs and Kispert, Suggs and Moody, Green and
Even
Moody.
Eric Pascal. Eric Pascal would have been nice.
Eric Pascal's solid, man. He's really good for that Warriors team.
He's the only reason why I watch the Warriors, to be honest with you.
He's really good for that Warriors team, man. But yo, guys, I gotta be out. I'm still working, but I gotta finish this project or this model up. I'll definitely be talking to you guys later. Peace out to the chat. Peace out to Freezy. Peace out to Blarns. Tears. The channel.
Can we sign off without Freezy being here?
Coach Colorblocks? I think so, but it's up to Freezy. Freezy might want to stay in here and talk a little bit. AO Pow, salute, bro. But yeah, I'm out, man. See you guys later. God bless.
Take it easy, Gmo.
Have a good night, gentlemen. Peace. Yeah, I'm heading out too, guys. Have a good night, man. Let's go Knicks.